Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. Glad to have you here for Night Owls, and we're going to talk about changes today. Some interesting things that are going on in the entertainment world, which is mainly what we talk about. Of course, it is an absolutely gorgeous day out here. The birds are just a chirping, getting ready to continue south. Get out of here, which in this place it doesn't get cold at all. But hey, the birds move. My dog is grumpy as hell. He's just growling and everything. He's just pissy today. So I apologize if you hear tweets and barks. Well, no, I don't really. It's okay. You
Yeah,
can voice his disdain with them birds
that's
because
right.
I think that's what's bugging him. But
I think he's earned it. He's been around a long time, and that's one of the perks of being
mhm,
old. You get to be as cantankerous as you like.
the curmudgeon dog. Yes.
That's right.
Uh, yeah, but actually, my good friend, he bought a dog the same time we bought a dog, and his dog just died a couple days ago. So,
Aw,
uh-oh. My wife
that's
is
no
all fretted now. Oh well.
that's no good.
Yeah, well, it happens. She's never had really pets before in that way, where I grew up with them, so I'm kind of used to it. So, and I've been a hunter as well. But yeah, so this should be interesting. Tears and wailing are coming, I am sure. But nevertheless, it is a beautiful day. I'm sitting here with a nice hot cup of coffee and some friends. I'm going to go over here and hit the like and share button. Hopefully, you guys will do the same. I do have to say, I'm going to ask Glendora how his weekend was. Mine was a beef bourguignon a weekend. I made the most freaking amazing burgundy beef this weekend, dude. My God. It
Burgundy beef.
was, beef bourguignon. You know what it is. It's just a
Yeah.
French version. It's a wine-based stew. That's it.
Yes.
But oh
Yes.
my God, it was freaking lightning,
Because
man.
you see, everything sounds pretentious in French.
It does.
Everything.
Yeah.
So it just immediately sounds like the most pretentious thing you've ever heard.
Hmm.
It's totally bourgeois, just ridiculous.
That's true,
Uh,
and I
But
love it.
no, I've had it before actually. It's pretty good. It's
It
pretty good.
is
It's not
great.
something obviously in northwestern Ohio. It's not something we're eating on a regular basis, but I have had it before.
Well, I'd suggest you go try it out. There are many recipes, of course. Who was that drunk lady that used to do the black and white cooking show? What was her name? Julia Child,
Uh,
that lady.
there you go. I
Of
was about to say
course.
you're gonna need to be more specific.
Well, you have her version. I'm sure you can find recipes. I actually do the Chef Jean Pierre recipe. He's a great, funny, happy old dude that has a YouTube channel. Go check him out. He's awesome. But and I've tried it twice so far, and this time it's spectacular, dude. But I like cooking good stuff. I like taking a little bit of
Yeah,
time and relaxing. And my goodness, very nice, very very nice.
very
But
nice.
the problem with the beef bourguignon, it brings the gas. It brings
Oh
the
yeah,
gas. Yeah,
yeah. It's one of those kind of foods.
it
I'm eating one
is.
that does as
Yes.
well for me anyway. Spaghetti.
Oh.
Me and
Mm.
spaghetti. I love spaghetti. It's one of my favorite meals because one, it's very simple to make, and two, if you make it well like I do, it's delicious. Because a lot of people, I don't know what they're doing to their spaghetti, but it just tastes terrible. It's either too bland, or it's too sweet, or it's some mixture of the two.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be either of those things. It should be savory. It should be
Well,
smooth.
it should be. And one of the problems is you're buying cheap sauces. Go buy,
Well, that's what
spend a
they
little
do.
bit
They
more
buy the
money.
cheap
Yeah.
sauce, then they just dump the cheap sauce in there, and then they think they're good. No,
Right.
if you're gonna buy the sauce, you can buy the cheap sauce and still turn it into something good, but you got to add a lot more seasoning. You got to
You
add some
do.
stuff into
You
it.
got to put some sugar in there, counteract the acid.
Yeah,
If you go buy the actual stuff from Italy that doesn't have all those preservatives in it, you
yeah,
don't need to do as much to it, right? As far
that's
beyond the normal recipe. But yeah, people. I don't know what people do. I don't understand. But a little bit of research. Take your time, research
I
something.
learned from my father. My father, he didn't cook often, but he could cook. My mother usually just did it.
Hmm,
He the household he
same
grew
here.
up in my grandparents went through the Great Depression, so they were very generous with food whenever they could be to anybody. It didn't matter if as long as you weren't a complete d bag, they were probably okay with feeding you. But so he learned how to make humongous portions of spaghetti from
Oh
my
well. Yeah.
grandmother,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm talking feed our whole church of 500 people portions of spaghetti
Sure.
from her. So he would make this spaghetti, and it was always way too much, but it was so good. And
Yeah.
when we would go to church, they'd have potlucks and whatever,
Hmm.
and we would bring. There was literally times where we would basically cater for the entire church an after service meal, and that's what it would always be. It would always be spaghetti, and the people would just love it because he just knew how to make spaghetti. The man knew what he was doing, and he loved to shop for groceries. He didn't like to shop for other things, but he loved food, so he loved to shop for groceries. So he would always make sure he got the absolute best deal he could on the spaghetti sauce, and he would buy copious amounts of it and make it. He'd have 5 or 6 big roasters of it going. Like he was killing it, and it usually when you make something to that scale, it's usually not as good because it's hard to keep the flavor and things like this
Was he in the
once you get
army?
to those bigger scales. No, he wasn't. Uh, he just learned from a man who was in the army
Uh,
and my grandmother, and he was going to be in the Marines, funnily enough, but then he broke his neck, and that he never went,
yeah.
which is
Well,
probably
that'll
a
do
good thing
it.
because yeah, he probably would have ended up, you know, dead because he had a little bit of a temper. So
Well, sometimes that's a good thing for a soldier. But yeah, no, there are some basic things. Just keep in mind if you have too much, if it's too fatty, acid will
yeah,
nullify it. If it's too acidy, sugar will nullify it. Just remember these kind of
sure,
rules and some other basic techniques. But one of the best things, other than making sure your sauce or it just make sure you have good ingredients. But one of the things that will improve your pasta to the nth degree is don't listen to these idiots say that you have to make your own pasta or go buy fresh pasta. It's don't no, it's dumb.
no,
Go buy dried pasta, but get really good quality dried pasta because the difference is if most of the cheap ass pasta you get, it's just slick as oil, right? It
yeah,
won't hold the sauce at all. Go get a pasta and look at it, and you'll see that it's got little prickers on it and little bumps, and it's the opposite of smooth. It's quite rough. That's what you want. You want that because that's going to hold
yeah,
that sauce up in there. And you don't want. It's also about not having things too thin. If your sauce is too thin, use a little bit of cornstarch, man.
yep.
Cornstarch and
Starch it
water
up.
slurry. Don't be doing the flour crap. Don't do that. If you are going to put flour in your stuff, do it in the very beginning, not at the end. I don't understand where people got this idea. I
And
really
I
don't.
would recommend if you're trying to de-acid it, right? Because you don't want to get acid reflux and any of that
Mm-mm.
nonsense. If you're trying to take that tang out of it, instead of just don't use white sugar, use brown sugar.
Yep,
The reason why I use brown sugar is
absolutely.
because it's softer. White sugar is really actually very hard on you on your
It is.
system. It's not good for you at all.
And
But
brown,
brown sugar is
yeah.
actually not as bad for you.
No, it's much healthier, and brown
Yeah.
sugar also is less sweet, oddly enough.
Yep. Yep.
So because you're only putting a couple teaspoons in there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you
But
don't gotta go crazy. We're
no,
not we're
no,
not
no.
making
It's
some
just
kind of dessert here.
oh, you're
Just
not
chill
trying to
out.
make it sweet. You're just trying to nullify the acid. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's tons of little techniques that you can keep in mind with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I would suggest doing some research. And the chef I mentioned, Chef Jean Pierre, he's a happy, friendly old dude. He's just entertaining to watch. But what he does that's different than say these TikTok or a lot of the other crap you see, he actually teaches you shit. Right?
Yeah.
He's a
Right.
professional chef, worked in Michelin restaurant. He's that kind of dude. He's a real dude, right? And I'm sure most of you know who he is. He's been on the Today Show, and you've seen him throughout your life. You know who he is. He's not as big as say Wolfgang or Gordon or something like that, but you've seen him before. But
Mhm.
he's a chipper old fella, and he teaches you techniques, very practical stuff. And learn. What I say, definitely. Yeah, learn how to cook and do it well. And the thing, a lot of people, I think they'll just do this. Oh, what's the next one? And they'll keep doing it like this continuous repertoire of different recipes. Well, don't do that. Stick to a recipe, make it a few times until you get it right,
Right.
right? And then you have that
Well,
recipe.
the other thing is a lot of people they want to try a new bunch of new things, and there's nothing wrong with that. You should. But I think you should also find a few things that you're very, very good at
Hmm.
making and that you really, really like.
It's true.
Because the truth of the matter is you only have so many opportunities to eat, and what you eat is very important not only for you emotionally, for your like mental well-being, it's very important just obviously physically for nourishment. So if you can get really, really good at at a handful of dishes, right? Just whatever they are. You get really, really good at them, you're set. You don't ever
Yeah,
have to learn anything else. Now
it's
you know
true.
how to make boom, boom, boom. You
Yeah.
can make boom, 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 and now you can eat. You're good.
Yeah, I do have over my life. I've learned a lot of stuff, but I mean, little by little. But you know what I did try? I thought was I was very interested, and I tried it out, and it worked really well. Because when I was making the bourguignon, like I said, the second time I made it, I've made stroganoffs before, right? And I was like, this is so similar to stroganoff recipe. The only real difference is stroganoff puts heavy cream in it, or bourguignon doesn't. And of course, bourguignon is using a burgundy, a red wine, right? Whereas stroganoff uses a white wine, right? And I was like, it is very similar. Taste is slightly different. But you know what I did? I took and I put it on because I was just having it in a bowl. It's a stew, right? But
Right.
I put it on some noodles and I put a very large dollop of sour cream and I gave it a try as a stroganoff. Damn, dude. I like it better than
Not a bad
stroganoff.
time. Interesting.
It's excellent, dude. It was I prefer that because a red wine reduction, a red wine sauce, if you do it correctly, it's spectacular flavor, right? And I guess I prefer that over a white wine sauce. I guess because I thought that was just excellent. I still got I don't know 25 pounds of stew left, so I'll try it again. That recipe is quite large.
Sounds like it.
Well, no, it's like it's literally was like I don't know, 5 pound hunk of meat,
Yeah.
a chuck, and then the normal stuff. It's plenty. I have the kind of lot. Yeah, I didn't know that a company Lodge that makes the cast iron frying pans and Dutch ovens and stuff like that. I have
Mhm.
one in their big Dutch oven, and it was packed full, man. But
Yeah.
it came out beautifully. But anyway, Dom DeLuise is your guy. Well, dude, because he's awesome. Dom is excellent. His kids are a little
That's
bit
true.
sideways, but it's Hollywood.
Yeah. You'll have that sometimes.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me how what our initial conversations are about. Today was about food.
Well, it should always be about food. Food's a
It's
good
true.
thing to talk about.
It is.
Uh, it's one of those. Food is that thing. One of the few things on this planet that everybody agrees is awesome. Everybody.
It is.
There
Yeah.
is nobody out here that's like, food sucks. No, no. Everybody likes food. Now, whether or not it depends on, everybody has different tastes and likes different types of food, but food as a whole, everybody's on board with.
Yeah.
So it's one of these topics that you can talk to about just about anybody. You'll probably be able to find some sort of common ground. In fact, it's something I learned when I was selling, like selling cars or whatever. One of the easiest ways to get somebody to start talking to you and telling you the things you need to know to try and sell them a car
Hmm.
is to talk to them about food.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
It's
man.
very simple. Yeah,
Food's great. You
because
know,
people open up.
interesting. This weekend, I actually my one of our friends. Should I use that word? Yes, friends, acquaintance.
Uh-oh.
She was a girlfriend of a guy who was here a long time ago, but she works with the government in their foreign interaction department, right? And
Yeah.
she sets up little things interacting with foreigners. And this weekend at our big civic hall we have in the city over the hill, over the mountain, she set up this thing and brought a bunch of foreigners in from different cultures, and they were doing cooking and just displaying their culture, and the Japanese come in and geek on it, and it was
Mhm.
fine. And she wanted to know if I come and help her out. I was like, no, but my wife went. So
Aw.
my wife spent the whole weekend over there helping. But my wife is a very helpful person. But I did kind of drop in and say hi, just show my face. The
Mhm.
problem is when I go to those kind of things, everybody, my brother, comes up to me and wants to talk to me. Right? I can't get 10 feet. Right?
You're a famous, popular guy,
Well,
Chester. You're
in this
popular.
area, I am. Right? But it's just everybody. Oh my God, dude! Because especially with this kind of event, it's all the people who want to hang out and do things with foreigners, right? It's those
Mhm.
types. So God, I can't get that. So I hate going to them. And the same thing happened. I couldn't get freaking 10 feet, man. And it's everybody and their brother up talking to me. And that's fine. I smile and be nice. But I was introduced because, of course, they want to introduce me to all these other foreigners. It's like, okay, that's all right, fine. And I got introduced to a Chinese lady. She was pretty boring. A Pakistani who I'm going to keep my fucking eye on. Um,
Now, what did the Pakistani guy do?
yeah, he struck me wrong. Yeah, you know how some people just you get a bad feeling about them.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, that fella. But
Yeah.
I also met a Syrian fella and his Moroccan wife, and they were very nice actually, and I'll probably end up doing some things with them. But we were chatting and stuff, and I was chatting about food. Right, like you said, it's an easy thing to talk about,
Yep.
and we talked a little bit about his home and stuff. I imagine he doesn't run into many people who actually know the geography of Syria like I do.
Mhm.
We talked about that a little bit, but mainly I was trying to talk about food. But then I realized, oh, because they're Muslims.
Mm.
She was like
Yeah.
in
So
almost burqa mode. It was pretty
in
close.
Japan, that's
It was
happening in
pretty
Japan
close.
too.
She was covered, dude. She had her hands were
Ah,
uncovered, and that's in her eyes. Everything else was very heavily covered. And to each his own. They, like I said,
I
they were
don't
seemed to be
understand.
really nice people. They weren't bad, and I know how to interact with a Muslim in the right way without
Mhm.
causing offense. I do know how to do that. But they seemed really nice. But I actually felt a little bad for them because it's like well, of course, pork doesn't matter. There's plenty of other things you can eat. You don't have. I wouldn't. I'm not talking about pork. The problem is halal,
Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
can't
Everything
go
has
to
to
the
be halal.
restaurants. They can't do this or that. There's just so many things they can't do, and it's like, God, what a pain in the ass. Especially living here. I mean, my goodness, where are you going to find halal? I mean, you got to get that on the internet, man. What a pain in the ass,
Mhm.
you know. But like I said, he seemed like a nice fellow. But that
I
Pakistani guy,
genuinely, I don't understand it. I mean, at least though they're from Arabic areas.
they are,
I
yeah.
don't understand people who live in the West, especially women, who willingly submit to Islam. That boggles my mind. Like I
And
just,
are lesbians at the same time. That's the best part.
well,
I love that.
well, it just boggles my mind. I don't get it. I don't personally, I have very little use for the religion itself.
Well,
But most of
how
the people are decent people. I have had a couple who were, even friends. But
sure.
as far as the religion goes, I just don't understand how I mean, especially a woman. This is coming from me, who could possibly find that appealing to have to wear
Right.
that
Well,
ridiculous outfit, walking around like a garbage bag all day.
I actually have met a
Ridiculous.
lot of Muslims in my life. I actually have, but mainly because of my major and things I do, right? Because I do kind of speak their ancient languages, right?
Yeah.
Or goodness gracious, dog. There's nothing to bark at. It's a little Tweety bird. He's not happy. I'm gonna have to shut this room up, I think, if he keeps going. But a lot of those women's they actually prefer it. I know for
Yeah.
us it's weird, but they don't have the same opinion that we have. They really you continue on about that. I gotta shut this room up because he's losing his shit. All right, hold on.
Well, I've said before I live in one of the most heavily Islamic areas, probably the most heavily Islamic area of my city. They're everywhere. You can even find halal shops all over the place. It's weird. Where I live is you have a bunch of white people, you have some black people, some Hispanic people. They're off to the side, like they're on the other side. My street is pretty much all white people or old white people, but then the next street over is a bunch of black people and Asians. It's very strange, but there's a lot of Asians to the point where I have a Chinese Alliance church literally right on the corner of my street. And there's right down the road from that is one of the Islamic centers. And then if you go around the corner and up about a block, which is a full size block, there's a huge Islamic center, like a temple or whatever they call their temples, I guess. Where it used to be a mattress factory. So I am completely inundated with these very different cultures
Yeah.
um, all around me at all times. So I see, you see a bunch of Arab women and a bunch of Muslim women. and some of them are white. They're Americans who are in that trash bag that they walk around in.
Hmm.
And I just don't understand it. To me, I'll never understand it. Even if for
Well,
some reason someday I converted to Islam, I'd be like, nah, I don't, no,
well,
it's
have you
silly.
noticed
Silly.
something, a comparison possibly? Because
Hmm.
we don't need to get into discussion, but we know right well that there's a lot of fear inside of Islam, and that's what
Yeah,
part of the problem. And the Christians had the same problem, but they went through a reformation, right? And they kind of
definitely.
shed the fear, right? Is what that's really the problem comes. That's what it boils down to, that the fear of it. Let's look at a comparison, though. I think is pretty interesting. How many women have you noticed during the whole pandemic thing were very
Mm.
happy to wear masks and continue doing it?
Oh, it's definitely more women than men. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
but
Yeah,
but
they
there's
love
a
it.
reason for it. I've actually asked some of the people here, because I'm not afraid to ask questions. You see,
Yes.
I asked them about that, and they said, "Well, it makes them feel more comfortable." And I said, "Well, was it just because you don't have to do your makeup?" And they're like, "No, I still do my makeup." I said, "So what's the deal?" It's just they're always concerned about the world looks at them, and by covering their face, they don't have to. They feel like they don't have to do it. So I kind of wonder if that's kind of part of it. This constant state of worry and concern about what others think that women seem to portray at a very high level.
Hmm.
I just wonder if that's why. Because
It's insecurity.
it is insecurity, but that's the reality, right?
Yeah.
But there are if you sit and actually take some time to talk to Muslim women in the right way, make sure don't piss off the men, right? Do it the right way. But if you sit and actually chat with them, I feel it's the same thinking. I
It
really
is.
do.
I
Yeah.
I know a lot about Islam specifically. Growing up in a heavily fundamentalist Christian environment, we learned a lot about Islam. Actually, even read the Quran and everything. But it is, and in their religion, at least in different sects of their religion,
Mhm.
the reason they do it is basically that it's so the woman doesn't have to worry about the gaze of the man. They
Yeah.
don't have to, it eliminates that entirely. Because now they when they're out in public, you're not even really supposed to look at them as a man too much, right? I mean, obviously it's impossible to not look at them at all, but you're not supposed to gaze at them. And with that on there, it makes it even more difficult to do so.
Right.
And
Well,
that's the idea behind it. But it's just like I get that idea, and I can understand why some women would even find that appealing if they are
right.
very insecure or shy or whatever. But I've met American women. These bitches ain't insecure about or shy
No,
about
no, no.
nothing like that.
No, and it is a lazy solution, because really you should teach the men. Really, you should teach the men to control
Yeah.
themselves. That's a much better way, and that's how
Well,
we do
that's
it.
what
Yeah.
Christianity handled it, and that's how the West has always handled it too, right? It's we've always, and maybe it is, you know, sexist in a way, but reality sexist. Sorry,
Yeah.
ladies. Uh, we've always put
Well,
the onus
in both ways,
on
depending on
men.
the situation, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've always put the onus on men to be the virtuous ones. Now, that
Yep.
doesn't mean women weren't supposed to have morals and honor and things themselves, but it was different. There was a difference between the types of honor a man's supposed to have. A man's supposed
Mm.
to be disciplined and
And in
controlled at
control.
all
Yeah,
times.
that's true.
Yeah. Whereas a woman doesn't have to be. Now, that doesn't mean she can't be crazy or she should be crazy, but she has more freedom to express herself in that manner. And pretty much in all of Western history, it's been that way. So I've never understood this concept that the feminists have propagated onto the society that women were oppressed.
Well, they
Like,
never were.
ladies,
It's ridiculous.
you
Yeah.
were always allowed to speak and quite
More freely
vociferously.
than we are. Yeah.
Yes.
But, tell me how things are now, because I've been out in the country so long, I don't even know. But when I was younger, we kind of had the standing rule: don't look at a woman more than 3 times unless you're going to try to make a move on her, and then of course make a move. Go up and talk with her. Otherwise, it's creepy,
Right.
right? That was
Well,
the
now
rule. No
it's
more than 3 times you look at a woman. Has that changed, or?
I would say yes, but I would say it's gotten worse. Now it's to the point where unless you are a very attractive man, physically attractive man, and that's completely subjective, obviously, right? But most people can
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
what
sure.
an attractive man is.
We're going to talk
And
about the beefcake here today as well.
you look at a woman, even if it's just completely innocent. If many women now will immediately get triggered and upset by it. Now they might not make a scene about it, but it will bother them, and it's it's gotten really bad. So what's happened is because of the push from the feminists and whatever, and just media in general, women have become even more insecure. Believe it or not,
Right.
they are so you see these women out here all the time talk about they're afraid to jog at night because they might get raped, even though rape is extremely rare
It
in
doesn't happen
America.
in that way, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
it's somebody you know.
but that has
I just had an epiphany though, and I need to ask
oh
before I forget. It's very important. Lord Sandwich is here, and I think he can help.
oh no.
Why do we call men beefcake and women cheesecake? Why?
Um,
Why?
I call I call women
Why?
sweet cake.
Well,
Sweet cake.
either
Hey, sweet
way,
cakes.
why?
Because men are beefy and they're strong and they got beef on them. They got meat.
And women got cheese? Damn it!
Well, potentially.
Sorry, go ahead. I couldn't resist.
but but no, it has gotten actually worse. Now it's to the point where you can walk around in public and people don't even look at each other. And if you do look at each other,
Sounds
it'll
like
be
New
very,
England.
very, very, very brief and typically not very friendly. Right? It'll be very generic. If there's even acknowledgement of each other at all, it'll be very generic. Now in the Midwest where I'm at, it's not as bad as other places because I have traveled around this whole country, and you can hear from people like in California and stuff. They'll tell you people don't even talk to each other. They're so afraid that somebody's going to get offended or upset because they looked at them too long, like you were saying or whatever, that they won't even talk to each other. Like simple pleasantries. I know somebody who moved here recently from California, and she said that she didn't know what to do when somebody basically, I can't remember how she said it, but basically what they did is very common customer service type of, like thank you and things like this. And here they look at each other and they talk and they have a little bit of chit chat
Sure.
when you're like checking out or whatever.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
do
do
that all
that
the
over
time.
there. Yeah, they don't do that in California from what she said because she was completely taken aback by it.
Wow.
It's not something they do, and that's just not healthy. Like this,
No.
the American society is sick as hell. I'm not like that. I can talk to just about anybody if I want to. I usually just don't want to, but if I do want to, especially if I'm like in a line checking out or whatever, I try to make it as light as possible. I try to be friendly with people. One of the
Yeah,
things
be
I always say
friendly,
to them
dude. Why not?
is I just say to the cashiers after they're done checking us out, they'll say, "Okay, have a good day," and I'll say, "Yep, don't have too much fun," and they usually laugh because obviously they're not having fun. That's the joke.
Sure.
Um,
Well, it's a
and I do that with
god awfully easy job though, dude.
oh yeah, it's super easy, but it's not a job that really anybody wants, right? Most people just have it because they need a job.
Yeah.
Uh, so I try to do that, and I try to be a little bit like playfully flirtatious with especially with the older ladies because they love
Mm,
that, right?
sure.
Uh, and it's just trying to bring a little bit of happiness to some other people. So many people now, all over the world, especially in America, they don't talk to each other. They're terrified, and if you try to talk to them, they shut down. Men and women, they don't know what to do. They get incredibly awkward. They don't know how to have a simple just chit chat conversation. Doesn't have to be anything deep. You're not trying to learn all the skeletons in their closet necessarily. But you can see this, right? You can find videos all over YouTube and Facebook or wherever of people just walking up to people and trying to ask them simple questions, and so many of them just they can't function. They're
Yeah.
done. Their brains
Oh,
just boop,
it's true. I
gone.
met several foreigners this weekend because of that event I went to.
Yeah,
I had to tell several of them to chill out, dude.
yeah.
I was like, relax, man. What
There
is
is
going on?
in the West, especially in America right now. A lot of places like where I'm at, it's not as bad, but you can see it if you watch videos from other areas. And if you go into certain parts of even my city, it's like this. Everybody is on a knife's edge, razor's edge.
Mm,
There is so much tension and anger from everybody, whether it's politically or just because of the way the country is right now, where gas is astronomically expensive, food's gone up. They say it's only gone up 8%. I call bullshit because all I know is a bag of pasta, because I'm a big pasta guy, is over 100% inflated from a year and a half ago. So I call BS on that.
yeah, no, it's
Um,
probably closer to 30% across the board, but that 8%,
yeah,
the way they're calculating is bullshit, is why.
yes. But my point is everybody is on edge. There is a lot of tension and anger
Sure.
you have a good third or so of the country who genuinely believes that the election was rigged and stolen
Well,
from the
clearly
previous president.
there were shenanigans going on
And
without question.
there
Yeah.
was obviously shenanigans, we'll put it just that's as much as we'll say. But regardless of whether it happened or didn't happen, enough people believe it that it might as well have happened
Yeah.
because you're not going to be able to change their mind just by bullying them.
No,
So
but I
that
think
is untenable.
it is. But for me, the point was it shouldn't have been that close enough for shenanigans to have mattered. That's for
Yeah,
me the real problem.
that's true.
I don't think it'll be that way next time. But
Okay.
lady, you did say I cock people dear. I don't know what that means, lady.
But one thing I have noticed is we say this all the time around
Sounds
here.
naughty.
Like, and I'll say this in other places too. You'll hear people talk about old black ladies, and there's nothing like there's the meme going around. There's just nothing better than having an old black lady call you sugar or sweetheart or darling. And that's still very true. And it's very weird to see, and not just in the black community, but in all communities, because I'm kind of in the middle right now, right? My age, the generation coming up behind me, a lot of these kids are just they're socially inept.
Hmm.
They don't know how to talk to older people. So me in the middle here, I can do the bridge very well between the older generation, Gen X and boomers and whatever, to my generation to the younger generation. I can typically bridge that gap because
Hmm.
I'm at that age.
Well,
But
yeah, in
these
that
guys
middle age, yeah.
yeah, these guys just don't have the ability to communicate between each other. It's amazing to watch. And then a lot of Gen Z uh, are just mentally, like, socially broken. They don't know how to behave, and I don't mean like they're like misbehaving. They just don't know what to do. They don't know any kind of social cues. It's like a whole generation of autists. It's
Hmm.
very weird,
Hmm.
um, and it's a problem. And I don't think it's going to get any better. And I think with the divisions and things that are already in the anger, especially in this part of the country, in the middle of the country, I don't think America is going to get better. I've been saying it for years. I think it's inevitable.
Very nice,
I hope
Elrod.
it's not.
Very nice.
I hope it's not, but I really don't see
Changes.
I really don't see anything fixing it. We have President Puddinbrain in there, and he was supposed to be the great uniter, right?
Grandpa
He was all about
Alzheimer's.
unity. He's going to unify everybody, and then he spent the first year and a half of his term trying to turn half the country against the other half
Well, it's a joke.
at any
I mean,
chance
come
he
on.
got. Yeah.
It's a big walking joke.
So
I get it, lady.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
dear.
I don't know. I think America as a society is doomed. I genuinely do. I don't see. I have no hope for the great experiment that is the American Republic to last much past this decade. To be honest, and I think you can see it in the question you're asking me. How do people respond in public to each other?
Yeah,
And they're just broken. They're
yeah.
just broken. The
Well,
bond's broken.
lady calls people dear. I've been wanting to take to calling ladies sweetie puss. I'm going to try it
Oh,
out.
God. I usually call, especially ladies, obviously, I don't call men dear, but I'll call ladies of all ages. I'll say dear or hun or darling. There's this weird idea that, you see it on TV all the time or online where some people they'll get real mad at you if you do that. I've never had that happen. Ever, not once.
No,
Uh or hold the door open for people. Some people will get, oh, well, who do you think he is? Never seen that happen. Never had it happen. I hold the door open for everybody if I can. I'll even sometimes wait there a minute and let them come in,
I do, lady.
come from the parking lot, stuff like that. Um, this another way you can see it, the societal breakdown is something so simple but something so brilliant. People don't take their shopping carts back to the
What?
little cart corrals. Yeah,
Why?
they just leave them out in the middle of it because they're fucking lazy and they're inconsiderate. That's why. And it's that right there is a symptom of a much bigger problem of society, of the sense of duty to the people around you,
Dude,
the lack of consideration.
you know how when you go in the shower and you're done and you put the towel
Yeah,
on the edge of whatever,
yeah,
and you occasionally you throw it and it falls down on the ground.
that's right.
I can't even walk away from it. I've tried.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can't. I can't. I like, God damn it, and I have to pick it up. I
But
can't.
that's where we're at. Is you have a whole lot of people, and they'll if you call them out on it, be like, "Hey, man, put your cart back." They get mad at you, like you just called them all kinds of slurs or something. You just shit on their ancestors or something, or called their kid ain't shit. Like they get crazy upset over just, hey man, maybe don't leave that there so people can run into it with their car. I don't know. Crazy,
Yeah,
right?
no, it's just simple, basic responsibility etiquette. Captain Canada is insulting you, not me.
Uh-oh, what did he
Him.
say?
He said you're
What did
Hodor.
Canada say?
You are Hodor,
Hodor?
which is weird because I'm the tall one.
This guy.
Yeah. Hey, Grimlock, what's up, dude?
I didn't know we had a
Good
Grimlock. He
evening.
snuck in.
How are you doing today? Not working, I see.
Yes, this is my weekend off, so here I be.
Nice. Are you enjoying any beverages up and coming into the Halloween?
Yes, I'm actually having some Diet Dr. Pepper because
Oh,
of Thundaro.
Oh,
It is his fault.
Diet
yeah.
Dr. Pepper. I have
I've
a
converted him.
singular Dr. Pepper in the refrigerator that's waiting for me.
Chester, we got to get you on that the sugar-free Dr. Pepper. It's good,
I drink
and
like
there's no sugar.
one a month, dude.
Telling you, it's good, and there's no sugar in there,
Yeah.
killing
Well,
your
I
insides.
I do prefer the Diet Coke. It does taste better than the Coke. But I drink soda so
Oh hell no, I
rarely.
can't drink. I cannot drink Diet Coke.
Well, my wife likes it, and when occasionally she'll buy one. We don't drink much soda in the house. We never have.
That's more proof. That's more proof men and women aren't equal. You can't. I can't trust nobody.
Yeah, I think my point was, Grimlock, I don't really drink soda.
I know.
Hmm. Thank you for insulting my
No,
wife, though. I appreciate it.
see that's
No,
a
no,
that's
no,
a
no, 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 no. I'm
I'm
not.
gonna
that
have
is
to write it down and
definitely
tell her.
that is
Grimlock thinks
definitely.
you're a moron.
God,
We don't
I'm
want
gonna
her
get
on you.
haunted. Now I'm gonna get
Yep,
haunted by Japanese spirits, and I'm gonna
Oh,
yep.
you
like,
don't
oh,
She's
want
gonna
that
send them
shit,
at you.
man. She'll put a
Yep,
yokai on your ass.
that's
and I
right.
have
They're
Hmm.
very.
now I'm gonna have to look up the international shipping rates so I can send her a case of Diet Coke as tribute.
Oh, dude, that would never even make it to its due date, I don't think. Yeah, that would take a long time. We used to, when we were younger, only time we ever had soda was really when we went to the movie theater. But recently, we haven't been to the movie theater in quite a while, but recently we get tea. We don't,
Mm,
or she smuggles, she's all about the smuggling snacks into the theater. I don't know why. I could give a
Okay,
shit.
okay,
yep,
But,
and that is instant approval.
okay, okay,
yep.
I'll tell her.
So,
That's
You'll
good.
see if that balances out.
and I have a feeling she'd be a getaway driver too. I just get that feeling.
Yep.
Oh no, you don't want to be driven by her. You'll probably die. Yeah,
Well, she is an Asian woman.
she
I mean,
is.
there's a
Well, if
reason that stereotype exists. It's because
well,
it's
if we're
true.
getting away, look, if we're getting away from a crime, I'm not going to be sitting there going, well, you just ran past that stop sign.
It's fair. That is fair. That is fair. That is fair. But I've let her drive my sport cars from time to time, and boy, I grin and bear it. But I let her.
He's holding on to every handle in the car.
Well, I let her. She's driven it a couple times, but with me in the car once, I let her drive the ST, and my God, dude, because that car, the one I got now, the Civic, the
Hmm.
ST, that sucker right there is frightening, dude. It's almost like my old Cobra. I used to have a Shelby Cobra, right? Way
Hmm.
back, and that car wants you dead, man. That car
Yep.
wants you
Oh yeah.
dead. But and it's great fun. But don't you drive one of those unless you know how to drive, though. That's definitely true.
Yep.
And this car is got that kind of acceleration, right? And uh, she got in it and she's driving it really. I had all the buttons on, including the echo. I was trying to bring that engine down as much as possible. And she said, "Why do you have all the buttons on? Why did you press all the buttons?" I was like, "Because I'm trying to slow it down for you." She said, "I want to feel the car." I was like, "All right, fine." I turned them all off, put it in racing mode, and you know, Could you-
Listen, there's been like what 7, 8 high level female race car drivers in
Mhm.
the big leagues in the whole history of the thing.
Yeah,
There's a reason for that, and it's just ladies just ain't built for it, which is weird because you think they would be because they actually have better hand-eye coordination than men. So you would think
lower center
they'd
of
be
gravity too.
fantastic.
Yeah.
but for whatever reason, they just don't have that urge
It's
to
the
go
G
fast like
force.
men.
It's the G's,
Yeah,
dude. It's the G's.
No, no, it's they like the drag strip. I bet you take the
they do
missus
like
out to a drag race.
yeah.
She'd
Do
be
they have
she,
drag
she would
strips in
love.
Japan? Do they drag out there?
I imagine they might. I don't know. I've been up to there's one speedway near me. It's about a 3 hour ride. And I've taken
He's
the ST up a few times to it, 4 times I think. And for I don't know what you call it, but like race day or car day or amateur day or
Right.
whatever it is. You pay like your $100 and you can go on and all day and just keep getting in line and go driving courses. I didn't see anything like that, but it was fun though.
Huh.
Like I said, I got that Civic up to 240 kilometers an hour. What is that? I don't know, like 180, whatever it is,
Yeah, 180,
something like that.
something
And
like that.
I haven't been able to get her. I just can't. There's this one long straightaway in the back, and there's this. It's not crazy sharp, but there's a fairly serious corner coming into that back straight, and you have to hit it just so, right? And
Yeah.
I just can't get it exactly perfect to get up to that 250 or more that the car is capable of.
Mhm.
So well, I'll keep trying.
Yeah. I grew up, see, because my buddies were all big car guys. I was never a huge car guy until I got a little older, but they were in their teenage years, and they would have, cars that could get it. So where I grew up at, that was weird. Where I grew up at, it was the
We got
country.
Thundaro Gump in the chat, folks.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
it was out there in the country, and we had a lot of
Ooh,
S curves, lots of S
Oh yeah,
curves out here
those are
where we're
great.
living. And they had a BMW Z3 Roadster
Mm,
3.0 liter, and it was quick.
yeah,
And they opened that sucker up on those S curves, and oh boy, that'll. I get it. I get why people don't want to race cars because holy cow,
yeah,
that'll put the energy in you real quick.
yeah,
yeah,
but it's those kind of cars where you see BMW where BMW had their reputation from.
yeah. No,
Oh
sure.
yeah,
And
no,
that's
it hugs
actually my
perfectly.
car is it's perfectly built for that exact type of thing.
Yeah.
That
Um,
that
yeah.
it's those kind of things that make me miss my 3 Series.
Hmm. Well, I did take the because usually I'll go up and I'll do it on my own, and she'll do fine, she'll do something else in the day. I did take her up to one and had her in the car with me as we're riding around. It's weird, I had to buy a helmet for her. It's a requirement, and it's only been used the once, so that was a good
Mm.
$300 thrown down the drain. But whatever, it'll still sit on the mantle. But I took her out, and it was early, so there weren't many cars, so I was able to really go right. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you get this traffic, and you have to kind of you got to pay attention, right? But I opened that sucker up, and she'll never go again. Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
no, I do. I do. Once I get myself better situated here, get my finances back in order, I do want to get me some. My dream car is actually nothing super fast or anything. It's not even really a muscle car. I mean, technically, it's a sports
Mm.
car. Is a 1964 and a half cherry red Mustang convertible.
Yeah,
I've always
Mustangs are
loved
fun.
that car. That's the first year they made the Mustang 60. It was 64 and a half, is what they called it.
Uh-huh.
And it is just there's for whatever reason since I was a little boy, I've been in love with that car, and that's my dream car. So once I get the ability to do so, I might have me one of them, at least one. Might even have two,
Mhm.
just because I can. That's the
I
plan.
I think I'd rather have a '67 Firebird.
Well, I mean, listen. I can always have two.
Esther, I
Sure.
approve of that.
Yes, that's a gore. It's one of the prettiest cars ever made, dude. The
It
'67
is.
Firebird is
Uh,
gorgeous. I mean, later on with the Bandit stuff, and all those kind of things with Pontiac, yeah, sure, okay, it's not a bad looking car, but that's
See,
'67 Pontiac, man. Jesus.
see,
yeah.
Chester and Grimlock they just became best friends
Yes,
because
Yeah.
my boy Grimlock's a Pontiac boy. He loves them
dude,
Pontiac.
man. I tell you
And I
what.
have an O2.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
Oh shit.
I have an O2. I have an 89 that needs to be rebuilt, but
Yeah.
um,
Well, I'm not
My
gonna
uncle right
I'm not gonna
now.
be buying a car anytime soon. Well, I'll probably buy my wife a new car here soon, but
And, and and trust me, if I can get a '67 to go with what I got now,
oh, dude,
the first
that is
chance
the
I
kid.
get.
You're
Eh,
down there in the south. You probably can find one.
you probably can, and they're
Yeah,
not.
but see, the thing is where do you want your starting point to be on the restoration?
Yeah, but to be fair, those '67 Pontiacs, and the stuff around them are. There's just that year was the best, I think. But they're
Yeah.
not as hot as say the GTOs or Camaros or, a
Right.
lot of those other things. Even the
Uh,
Mustangs. They're not as hot, dude.
Camaro. So my mother, apparently, this was long before I was born, but my mother, when she turned 17, because she was working, she bought herself I want to say it was 70, it might have been 69, Robin's Egg Blue Camaro. And
Oh,
my father
Mhm.
wrecked it, and she never forgave
Ooh,
him for it.
Jesus,
oh. Yeah, that's
yeah,
how divorces start.
they are.
But she stayed
That's
with him.
true.
She must
Yeah,
have loved him.
that's true.
She must have really loved him because
Yeah.
that's how divorces start.
Yeah. I actually had two Shelbys. I had a Cobra, and I had a Daytona as well.
Yep.
My dad
Yeah.
had a Shelby. He wrecked it.
Yeah, no, those cars, those are racing cars, dude. They want to kill you. You really need to know how to drive. And to be fair, I was just completely lucky that I was able to get so much driving in before I owned it, right?
Mm.
Because I'm sure there's plenty of people that get an opportunity to buy a Cobra or a Daytona. Of course, the price has gone way up since I was young, but
Um,
still,
wait, I have to
they're
answer this.
trouble,
Yes,
dude.
Dave. Thundaro taught me what Pontiac stands for, and
We won't say it on air, but needless to say, it's very racist.
hey, look, I
Oh,
still find it funny.
I think it is funny.
And,
I think
in
that's the
fact, I
problem. People don't laugh at that stuff anymore because it's obviously
and
not
in
taken
fact,
seriously.
I plan on leaning into it a little bit further and get me a Bonneville to go with my Firebirds.
My uncle, who when he came back from Nam, he used some of his money, bought himself a Roadrunner.
Oh,
And because he just came back from Nam and he had seen some things, he was a little messed up in the head. He decided a great idea would be to lead a car chase with the police across 3 states. He won this car chase. He got away from them because back then it was a little easier to do. But then he crashed it into a ditch. So he ruined it. He still ended up wrecking the car anyway. Completely totaled it. Uh, but yeah, he had an old Roadrunner. He used to tell me all the time he would give anything to still have that car because it was just those cars from that era, man. They were special. And what we have today, they just don't exist. Nothing like those muscle cars, those sports cars of the day exist right now. Even the high end ones,
Oh yeah,
yeah, they're just
people
not the same.
get that Challenger while you can. Dodge is discontinuing it after
Yep.
next year.
hmm.
My
Um,
other uncle,
And the Charger too.
I will do
my
a
other
stupid thing, and I shall ask because from Pontiac is an Algonquin word used for name of a chief. I don't.
All right. All right, Grimlock, you're gonna have to finish the end part for me, okay? Because I can't. I will get banned on YouTube. So Pontiac, this I learned this from my uncle, whose best friend was a black guy. He told him this actually. He said Pontiac stands for poor old.
Poor old nigga thinks it's a Cadillac.
That's right.
Wow, you turned
Yeah,
it into an anagram. Nice.
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
what we do. Anagrams are what we do.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
like Ford is fix or repair daily or found on road dead.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Stuff
Sure.
like
Sure.
that. Yeah,
Actually, which is weird because Ford is actually a pretty solid company. That's these
yeah.
days. They went through the Americans during the '80s and '90s went through a really really depressing time when in the car industry.
Yes.
But it's gotten better. Ford's come way up. They're
Well,
usually
they
in
don't
the
even make
top.
cars anymore. They only make the Mustang now. They stopped all their cars.
Yeah.
The only thing they do is trucks and I think vans too.
Really,
But
that's
that's
interesting.
yep,
Yeah.
Well,
yep.
can't compete with them Japanese, I guess. Oh well.
Well, it's that, and they just that's where all the money's at. They can sell a truck with the exact same features as a car, but they can make $30,000 more on the truck.
Huh.
It's ridiculous.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, the truck market has gotten ridiculous.
So what's the
Yeah.
big American car company then right now?
Toyota.
No, I
Yeah.
mean American. Dodge or Chevy or
Uh,
GM?
Probably GM. Yeah. Government Motors, as we call them. There's not. I mean,
Who
Ford is
hasn't
the
put out
only
a good
one
car in
that's
15 years?
yeah. Ford is the only one who is, for the most part, American. Chrysler is part owned by Italians or something now. Um,
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
like a bunch of these companies have been piecemealed out and bought up by other companies, international companies.
So
So
Chrysler was bought out by
when he says
Fiat or something?
Toyota,
Yeah.
yeah, when he says Toyota, he's actually more accurate than you think because Toyotas are pretty much all made here. They're
Sure,
made in like Tennessee or something.
sure.
Yep.
Um, so that's pretty far more accurate than people think. But
Hmm.
GM is still there's still a lot of GM plants right here where I live. There's a Chrysler and a Jeep plant. And that's where a lot of people used to want to work when those were good jobs, but they don't pay crap anymore compared to
Hmm.
what they used to.
Well, I mean,
And
Um,
if I was in the States, personally, I wouldn't buy a new car anyway. I'd have a classic.
yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, a
well,
new
Well,
car, I
there's
would have a classic. Yeah.
well, Chester, there's like we've said before, there's no new besides the Dodge Challenger and the Charger, which are going away thanks to Uncle Dementia in
I
in the
do.
White House.
I have a feeling that's going to reverse
There's
itself, but yeah, I know what you mean.
it is because it's an absolute disaster, but because of all of these ridiculous mandates they've put in throughout the years, there are no cars with any personality. There's no cars that or that aren't at least 15 years old that people like gravitate to.
the last
They're just
great
not.
American car, in all honesty, in my opinion, was the Viper, the Dodge Viper. Um, that was, and they don't make that anymore either. I don't think
No.
that was that was unique. It had an interesting look to it. It was unbelievably powerful.
Oh, that car. That's another
Um,
car that wants to kill you. Yeah.
yeah, that's a car that you better be ready to die. Hope you got your
Yeah.
affairs in order
Shoot,
because that
I
sucker's ready
drove
to
one of
kill
the
you.
original Vipers way back when my
Yeah.
friends had one. Those things are
Yep.
dreadfully dangerous. But
Yeah.
actually, it was kind of interesting in this conversation because uh, just a couple weeks ago, someone offered me 100 grand for my SD.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's double what I paid for it.
And you
Um,
didn't take it?
no, no, hell no. I love that
This
car.
guy.
What do I need $100,000 for? I have
Mm.
but the thing with it is though is it's a little different because those uh the Japanese are insidious. Understand this. Okay. No, they are. Because like if you go to America and buy a Civic, it's probably built there somewhere there in America, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a good car, especially get away from the lower models, get into the if you're a normal person, get an ST. If you don't care about an uncomfortable interior, get a Type R, right? Whatever. There's not much
Right.
difference. I think the ST was the better purchase, and it's like 5 grand, 10 grand cheaper. But anyway, the Japanese don't do that. The Civic, they only make the ST. They don't make anything else, right?
Mhm.
And the Type R, and those things are actually not done in country. They're done out of country, and those are made. You can only make those buy those to order, right? So every
Right.
year there's a limited number they make anyway, and that's made in the Aston Martin factory, right?
Hmm.
So my Civic is an Aston Martin made ST. Whereas if you buy one in America, it's made in some factory in Tennessee or something, right?
Right.
And they do that. If you go buy a Sony Bravia, really good TV, yours is made somewhere near you. Mine is made here, and it's way better quality components. The Japanese do that,
Mhm.
dude. They will sell
They
really
should.
high quality stuff to Japanese and lesser quality to the rest of the world.
I wish America would do that, but America's too globalized. Um, I there's a like so I used to fix appliances, right? That's what my family's business was, and we would do small appliances up until NAFTA. We still hung on for about 10 years, but NAFTA really killed that. Um, but even then, the older appliances, say from the 50s to the 70s, and some in the 80s too, were just better. They just operated better. They were made with better materials and all this. And we literally had, because we were authorized repair shops, we had whole schematics everything, how to make them. They knew how to do it still. It's not like they just forgot the information, how to make these toasters that last for 45 years.
Sure.
They just refuse to do it because they want to, resell you a toaster every
Well,
couple of years.
that was the solution given up by a professor to make sure a Great Depression never happened again. By the way,
Yeah, which good. That's funny. Don't worry, the government found another way to do it.
they did.
Good job.
Yeah.
But my point is, I wish we did that sort of stuff here. And the fact that we have car companies, even, and that was what you were talking about in the 80s and 90s, the American cars were garbage. Like by and large, there was a few exceptions, but by and large, they were garbage. They were just not very good, especially compared to the Japanese or the German cars. And it took them a while to get caught up. But I'd say probably in the last decade or so, they caught up and then at least got to par with the Japanese cars. At least Ford especially did. Like the Ford Fusion was a really good car. They don't make it anymore, but I have one, and a lot of people around here have one. Really good car, solid, very little trouble. Mine is a really nice one actually. It's just under the absolute best one you could get, but it has all the features of the best one. It just doesn't have the same trim level. Uh,
Yep.
Stuff like that, and that sort of stuff is going away, and it's because you have these companies are very much into this idea of the term is manufactured obsolescence. They've bought into it hook, line, and sinker, even in cars. And people think that the electric cars are going to solve these problems, right? Because electric cars, blah blah blah, will be better for the environment. Except the batteries they use in those electric cars and the engines or the motors, sorry, they use in those electric cars. If they break, you're done. That's it. There's no
Yeah.
point trying to
Very
replace
expensive.
that.
Oh
Yeah.
no, the world's going to find out real quick that electric cars are not what you think they are. Oh yeah,
No,
that's true.
no.
Now,
But
Grim,
the reason why I bring up electric cars, last point, is because Tesla is actually a very American car company too. They have factories in other places, but a lot of most of the Teslas, probably all of them that are sold here, are made
yeah.
here.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? Elon Musk came in, and I knew he'd fire the executives, but he
Yep.
fired the entire engineering crew, and I was like, well,
Yep.
that's interesting. And you know what he did? He put the Tesla guys in charge of it.
Smart.
So,
He wants to
And
integrate it.
yeah, well,
Chester, to circle back to what you were saying, what could $100,000 get you?
you know,
A very, very lovely '67 Pontiac Firebird.
I bet you. But I then I would have to ship it here, so double the price, and
Right.
then I would have to
They
spend
still
all
don't.
kind of insane taxes. It's probably a $300,000 car for me, dude.
They
Oh
still
my
have
God.
those. They still have those insane taxes for imports for a car that old.
Oh yes, no, the Japanese do not. They're very clear. You buy Japanese stuff.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Well,
very very clear.
here's the solution, Chester. You just get you a nice garage by where Grimlock lives that
Hmm.
you own, and then you just come on over and drive it whenever you want.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a
Done.
solution.
Well, it's
Spend
kind of
2 days
weird,
in the air just to drive a goddamn car.
but you know what? It's kind of weird how that is because I know somebody who spent $100,000 to bring one of the '90s Skylines over here.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's still, to me, I find that so fucking weird that they have these stupid fucking taxes and fees for wanting a car shipped internationally. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's how you kind of control your that's how you control your exports and imports, though. I understand why the Japanese do it. I get it, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, no, you have to have real money to own those kind of things, unless there's a deal. The Germans have made a deal with the Japanese a long time ago. You know, and therefore
Couple of them, in fact.
you can get a German car here fairly easily. There you are going to pay higher taxes. You're going to pay higher on your you're going to pay more. But it's more reasonable than trying to bring something in out of the country. You can't find a Ford dealership in Japan, dude. For instance, you can't. Yeah, yeah. It's and the Ford just
Well, it's
gave
going to
up
be
trying.
interesting because Ford is, and obviously Chevy and them are catching up, but Ford has been right on Elon's heels for a long time when it comes to the electric cars and really pushing them. Their CEO especially. So it's going to be very interesting when the old guard really makes an effort because kind of, oh yeah, we got electrics over here, but they haven't really made their effort yet, made their big play. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens in the car game, especially the electric market, because as we've seen, the governments in the West are very hard trying to push everybody to
Oh yeah,
electric cars,
really
which
hard. Yeah.
because people can
I
afford that, by the way. So it's gonna be interesting to see because you have Ford, who's been around as long as back when Nikola Tesla was alive. Ford's been around, going against his namesake, the company that Elon has control of. So it's going to be very interesting to see who wins that battle.
Yeah.
And if I had to put my money on it, it's funny because I just said never bet against Elon. I got to bet on Ford. They've been through everything. There is nothing that the market could do to them they haven't seen that
That's
they
true.
can't bounce. They don't know how
That
to
is
fight
true.
back. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
And Elrod, you're right. That's why I said if I was in America, I wouldn't buy a new car. But here in Japan, the government basically forces you. Having
Yeah.
a car that's more than 10 years old here, it gets very, very expensive. Which is why I always buy
that's,
new cars. But then again, you have to keep in mind here in Japan, the average mean income of a family in Japan is 50, 60 grand, right?
Hmm.
That's the average. In America, what is it, 24 grand?
yeah, somewhere around.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So I mean, and I mention this because even the Japanese, who the average household in Japan is double that of America, even they are balking at this electric car stuff.
Yeah.
So
Which is kind of sucks because I want electric cars to actually be a thing and actually be reasonable because I think that's cool. The nerd in me likes the idea of an electric car. But the reality of the electric car is all the stuff they use to try and sell it is nonsense. That it's better for the environment. No, it ain't. Anyway, in
It
no
is.
way it's better for the environment. Um,
Electric cars are the almond milk of the automotive industry.
ooh, ew, stop it.
I almost
It's
spit my
true.
soda out.
If all right, think about it. Almond milk is completely unnecessary. They sold it to people as this great alternative to fucking milk.
What's wrong with milk?
The process of creating almond milk, all the processes and the money that is used to create almond milk, you'd just be better off just having regular milk or just doing without it. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with these all electric vehicles. Like Thundaro said, they're nowhere near good for the environment. In fact, if
Well, they're
people
actually
actually
much worse. Yeah.
look into it, they're 3 times worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Minimum.
Well, I'm serious about the question I asked though, because I've seen a lot of videos and little memes and stuff of people pouring out milk at supermarkets and stuff because they're protesting. And it's like, okay, well, if you're a vegan and you don't want to eat meat, okay, I get it. Whatever. But what's wrong with milk and milk products? That's a
Um,
gift from
uh,
the
uh,
cow. The cow didn't die to
um,
give you that. I mean, what's the problem?
they don't they don't care, and vegans have gotten way too comfortable with
Yeah, but how is
those
milk
kind
not
of
vegan
demonstrations
is my point. It is
because it
vegan.
comes
There's
from
no
because as
meat.
far as they're no, as far as they're concerned, if it comes from an animal in any capacity, that's not vegan.
So what do they
Yeah.
what do they feed their brand new babies?
Well,
Um, soy.
yeah. They feed them
That will
formula,
kill the child.
and
They
that's
don't
happened.
care.
That's literally happened.
Oh jeez.
Um,
Um, but no, the idea is like he was like Mike was saying is if anything at all comes from the animal at all, they don't consider it vegan, which I think
yes,
is really
it's
stupid
retarded.
because it's impossible. Like
Yeah, I mean,
at some point, an animal was involved in the process of creating the food that you're consuming. Whether you're
It
consuming it directly from the animal is largely just a matter of coping, because at
but
some point, some part of that animal was into or disposed of to create the grains that you're eating.
hmm
but it's all mental gymnastics. So we won't eat something that was once alive. But motherfucker, plants have to live to become the beans that you're about to fucking eat.
Yeah. But I
So
can answer your
what?
question about the
But
cows too,
because
Chester.
a fucking beanstalk can't make sad eyes at you when you're about to fucking rip it out of the ground, I guess it doesn't fucking
It
matter.
does scream though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes,
Figured that
pull
out.
me, pull. Yeah, it says pull me harder, daddy.
Yes. Educate me about the cows.
The reason why is because of the conditions with which they are kept
Mhm.
and the way that they're treated in order to get the milk. So basically, they're kept in a state of perpetual pregnancy, and they're treated very, very poorly in a lot of these big factory
Depends
farms.
on
So
the
people,
farm.
exactly, but so people dislike them. I don't necessarily disagree. I don't like factory farming. I don't like, especially some of the stuff you can see, some of these videos. It's just ghoulish the way we treat these cows.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I'm not one of these people who are like, oh, we have to all stop eating meat because no, cow. Listen, the truth of the matter is, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, cows only exist because of human intervention. They
Well,
are
cows are
ours.
not a natural animal. They are created by
Yes.
us. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's right. And same with, and in a way, and honestly, chickens are as well.
Sure.
They're not a completely creation of us, but they wouldn't exist without us. They're one of the dumbest animals on the planet.
Oh no,
They would have been wiped out long ago.
the modern domesticated food animals are not natural things. No,
Yes.
we've
So
domesticated them. Yeah.
I think it's better that we have them for our meat source than it would be otherwise,
Well,
right?
it's
Um,
efficient and practical.
yeah, it's more efficient. But I do kind of agree with them in one regard. I wish we could reform factory farming,
Well, we
and just make
could,
it less
and
brutal
but
because
then
it's
the way you
brutal.
do that is get the local farms back and stop these big
Yes.
giant corporations from suing everyone into oblivion.
Crush
If
the
you
corpus?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, if you were
Yeah,
if the local people were getting all their produce and meat products from local farmers, this wouldn't be a problem,
correct.
and we're
And
more
it
than
didn't used
capable
to
of
be.
doing it.
Yeah, it didn't used to be a problem.
It also
It
creates jobs. Weird.
crazy. Well, America used to be a completely agrarian society
Sure,
up
most
until
every
very
society
recently
was.
in our history. Yeah. So it's a shame. I do wish and I do hope, and I think it is starting to shift. We're starting to see a lot more push from people to become more conscious of that sort of thing. And you can find, like, say, eggs, for example, right? Chickens. You can find pretty much in any grocery store, you'll be able to find multiple different versions of like free range or cage free or whatever. And people just seem to like that more. That's usually what I get. And it's the main reason I get it is because it's less calories. But for whatever reason, I don't know what the hell they're doing to these eggs, but these eggs have lower calories than the other ones.
Mhm.
Um, so you're starting to see like the push happening, right? Where people are, there's more and more options. Capitalism solving another problem as it does, where there's a demand and someone is rising to meet the demand. The biggest problem is it's more expensive because of the way factory farming works and the fact that it's old hat now. It's been around for so long. It's cheaper to do and to produce to scale than it is the stuff that takes a little bit more uh,
Yeah.
care, I guess would be the
Well,
word.
I know this, not only from my childhood, but even right now. We got a guy down the street that keeps chickens, and
Yeah.
we buy eggs from him, and occasionally we buy meat from him as well. It's much more flavorful.
Oh yeah,
Right.
absolutely. My wife wants to get chickens really, really badly, but we just don't have anywhere to put them here.
Yeah, well,
And my
you don't
dogs
need
love
much,
that.
Ron. One of the greatest setups I saw was they had a little chicken coop, a dozen chickens, and they had a chicken run that went all the way between their garden and all the way around back in the chicken coop.
Hmm.
And the chickens, of course, will go up and down that run all day, and it's fenced in, so they're safe. And they'll eat all the bugs and insects, which is makes their meat more flavorful, and it helps greatly to keep their garden bug free.
Hmm.
Yeah, really
Clever.
smart, clever setup. Yeah, no, the farmers, man, they know how to figure shit out, dude.
Well, they have to. They
Yeah.
don't have a choice. It's
Should
do
I
that or die.
should I go on to actually do news?
I guess we
I
probably
mean,
could. We've been
Okay.
talking for what, an hour or so now,
We
jibber
have.
jabbering.
It's fun though. It's fun. But I do have a couple things I do want to talk about.
Let's see 'em.
I'm going to start out with this one because, I have said this before. I am a fan of the Guillermo del Toro.
He's a good man.
Past couple of things he's put out, what is it, Midnight Circus, or whatever it was called, and the Shape of Water, not great, not great,
Mm.
right? And to be fair, this Cabinet of Curiosities here, there's 8 episodes. I've only seen the first 6. I haven't seen the last 2 yet. I probably
Hmm.
will tonight. And I imagine one of the last ones he will probably direct himself. But it's clear he's in charge, 100%. He's not just the presenter because it has his feel all over it. And
Hmm.
he's giving directors opportunities to come and do this. And I hope that this continues forever because this is the best horror anthology ever created.
Hmm.
Whoa, whoa, them are big words, sir.
Those are big words, and I do love. I'm sure we all love our little horror anthologies, whether they're 3 or 5, whatever. This is it's just a season of 8, but it is spectacular, dude. Spectacular. The first 6 I've seen. The fourth one, which is called The Outside, is the worst of all of it. And I think the problem with that one is it's more of a thought than a short story,
Yep.
and it just missed the mark a bit. But if you compare it to many other anthologies, it's pretty normal, I'd say. But the first 3 are damn, dude. Damn. The fourth one is pretty good. The fifth one is basically just an old Lovecraftian short story that they gave a director to put on the screen. It was pretty good. Like I said, I haven't seen the last 2, but the first 3 are insane. They're masterpieces, dude.
Yep.
Masterpieces. And I'm like, Guillermo's built to do this. He was just born for it. It's so freaking awesome. Has anyone here seen the Cabinet of Curiosities?
I have not.
No.
Yeah. And this is coming through. Of course, it's created by Guillermo, but it is through Netflix, and it is something that they paid for. And it's rare that I say that something out of Netflix is good, but this is more than good. It's
Hmm.
spectacular. And the interesting thing is it's we know Guillermo's had some trouble recently with his wokeness, right? But it's forced wokeness, you can tell. But this doesn't have any of that. Even the fourth one, I wouldn't even call that woke though. It's just that if you watch it, you'll see what I mean by the fourth one. It's more of a kernel of a thought rather than a story. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
But the first 3 are really good, so like I said, there's 2 more I got to watch. But so far, the autopsy, damn, dude. And
Hmm.
that's got Abrams, not JJ, the old actor Abrams is the lead in that, and Luke, can't remember his name. You'll recognize the actors, and that's the thing. When Guillermo said he's doing something, a lot of actors put their hands up. This is just full of cameos, and like every single one of them got you recognize people in it. But
Yep.
Yeah, dude, go watch this shit. It's really
Cool.
good, and I
Cool.
am very pedantic in particular.
Well, it's Guillermo.
It
Well,
is Guillermo.
Guillermo del Toro. He's one of those guys that he doesn't always hit, but when he does, whoo, is it good?
It is good.
Whoo.
He's got a taste, a flavor, a look, a
Yeah.
style. It's just I really like Guillermo. He's one of the good Mexicans.
So his name is Guillermo of the Bull.
Guillermo the Bull. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good name.
It is a
That's a
good
good
name.
name. That's a good name. I can't hate him. What is Guillermo? Is Guillermo a unique name? Like, what is
Jeremy
that? Is it Jeremy? Jeremy the Bull. That just sounds so white now.
or Jeremiah, probably.
Oh,
The biblical name. Yeah, most of them are. There, you get all these Italian or Spanish or French names, and they're just John or Pete,
right.
Paul. You know, that's what they are. They're the same as you. They're all Bible names.
I'll be honest. Guillermo sounds much better than Jeremy.
Yeah, it does. He's
That's a
got a
lot
great
better.
name, Guillermo del Toro, and
Yeah.
he's got actually the first one is another Guillermo. It's not him, but it's another Guillermo's given a thing, and it's cool because each one he'll come up and he'll do a little speech, kind of like the old Ripley's Believe It or Not, if you ever seen that show, or
Yeah.
even like not Orson Welles, Alfred Hitchcock, where you come and talk a little bit before the show, right? He
Uh-huh.
does this. and he'll introduce the name and the director and all the like I'm assuming the seventh or the final one is actually done by Guillermo himself,
Hmm.
but it's clearly his hands are right straight on it because it has the Guillermo look, right? But Rats in the Cemetery or Cemetery Rats, I think it's called, is freaking awesome. It's just good. Like I said, the fourth one is certainly the weakest, and I think it's just I don't really know how it got put in there because it's much more mundane. It's more like it came out of Cat's Eye or something like that, instead of this is really a masterpiece theater thing going on here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's you know what? It's actual horror too. Real horror. Not jump scares, not slasher, grotesque stuff. It's pure psychological horror, straight up. It's as it should
Interesting.
be. Yeah, no, it's great. It's really, really gay. I can't wait to watch the next two today. But anyway, I'll move on from it. But I don't give a lot of suggestions. I do watch what you guys say, and then I come and yell at you for being dumbasses. But I'm telling you, this thing is spectacular. It really, really is. It's just so clean and so well presented. Like I said, so far my favorite one is the autopsy. Oh my God, dude, it's really well done. It's so cool. But anyway, let's move on. And there
Let's
was
do it.
this is kind of the imagery they have with it because he comes out before each one, and he has I don't know if you guys know this, but back in the 19th century, there was a big the Greek revival, the Egyptian revival, all that stuff was going on in the 19th century. People were kind of being reintroduced to these ancient stories and places and peoples, and it was very
Sure.
popular. And one of the things people like to do is they would have in their house. It was very middle class and up. People would have this little cabinet of curiosities, and they would go out and look for and buy interesting things that they could talk about with their guests. It's something that existed that people would have in their homes, and that's the whole play here. So every time he comes out, he's opening this fantastic cabinet of curiosities, of course, and he's pulling out and he's talking to and he brings out a particular item that's in there and he shows it. But it's really well presented. It's a lot of fun. And it does have, if you notice here with the tentacle, it does have an overall Lovecraftian encompassing it, right? Feel
Mm.
encompassing it. Like I said, there's two more I got to watch, but so far the first six definitely have that Lovecraftian touch. And yeah, no, go watch it, man. Guillermo's
Cool.
back on form, baby.
Huh.
Yeah, it's good. Anyway, first story.
First reviews are out for Gotham Knights, and they are underwhelming. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard it's not
Hmm.
very good.
Now, I put, we like to talk about all kind of entertainment stuff here, and I put this up here because, this article from Tyler Vale here is fairly negative. Although it is giving information and let it speak for itself, so it's not necessarily one-sided. But I've heard very mixed things about this actually. Some people seem to be really enjoying it, and other people are complaining nonstop about it.
Hmm.
A lot of people are very upset about the 30 FPS, which, okay, but it doesn't have a co-op mode because it's supposed to, but it doesn't. So I don't know why the FPS would really matter to you that much. And it does have a bunch of bugs. I guess it sounds like, especially on the consoles, well, everywhere actually. It's got
Well,
troubles.
here, the reason that the people are making a big deal about the FPS is because considering the power of the PS5
Hmm.
and the Xbox Series X, um, you can't you can't sit there and make complaints about hardware limitations and then turn right around and when they have a more suitable system for that with hardware, you still lock it at 30 frames. A lot of people are looking at that like, okay, why is the PC version able to run at 120 frames and these two consoles that have similar hardware to what most people have in their
Yeah.
computers are way down here at 30.
Yeah, it makes sense. I get it. But
So
that would
it
bother
was
me
just
less than the technical issues and the fact that the last Arkham game looks 10 times better than this one. It just looks better. That would be a bigger issue for me.
oh that too.
Yeah. Oh, Alan. He said, "Someone say tentacles." Yes, your fellow Mexican, Guillermo del Toro, has got a great anthology going on. You should go watch it. Because Alan is technically my favorite Mexican. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, no, he's my
Favorite
favorite
Mexican?
Mexican. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
That's a big ask. There's a
it
lot
is
of
a big
Mexicans.
ask. Yeah. But
Mm.
anyway, did you have any comments on this? Because boy, I mean the opinions are all over the place. I put it up. You know, it's not necessarily something I would talk about, right? But I put it up here because the opinions are really. I haven't seen anything so divisive, and there's nothing divisive about it, meaning this isn't a woke game. It doesn't have any of those kind of issues. It's just a
Mhm.
game, right? But the breadth of people who hate it and who love it, it's interesting.
I think the answer lies right there. The 30 frames per second limit. I think that is a big turnoff for a lot of people. To a lot of people, pretty myself included, to be honest, it's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable. There's absolutely no reason a modern game should be stuck locked into 30 frames a second on console or definitely not on PC.
Well,
It's
actually, the
just
PC's the worst. It sounds like.
yeah, it's not acceptable to me as a gamer, and I wouldn't even play it. If I downloaded this game, put it on my computer, and I was stuck in that slow mode, I couldn't play it.
Well,
It would just be an instant turn off, instant refund for me. So that's probably where most of it's coming from, because from what I understand, it's not that it has like huge mechanical issues. Like it plays okay. It's not great or anything. It's not the best,
actually, I
most
heard it's
perfect
got a
game.
lot of bugs.
Yeah, it has bugs, but I'm saying like mechanically the stuff
Oh,
works.
it
It
works.
just
Yeah.
has
Okay. Okay.
bugs here or there. Um, as far as I understand, I haven't played it, but that's just what I understand. So I think it really does come down to the fact that they locked it in at 30 frames a second. If it wasn't that it had bugs, I think people would ignore it. It wouldn't be as big of a deal. But because it's that plus bugs, I think that's why you're getting this very vociferous reaction from a lot of people where
Yeah.
they just hate it. They're like, nah,
Well,
nah.
because I've seen side by sides looking at Arkham games compared to this, and I think a good example for this channel is you know how Rabbit will come on and for the 2 hour show he'll do this really cool thing,
Yeah.
One Doom Rabbit, and then a day or two later he'll keep working on it, drop it on Twitter or into the Discord, and you're like,
Mhm.
damn, right? It's like the first thing you thought was great was crap, and now you have this photorealistic thing look in front of you. That's kind of this. Because when you
Yeah.
see it side by side with the Arkham stuff, it's like, wow, it's really not. It's not finished. It's like it's not finished. The artistic style, it looks unfinished, and it's staying. And you'll go find one of those side by sides. That they don't have one in the article, but I've seen those, and it's yeah, it's not good, dude. It's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a shame. It's a shame too because I desperately want more Nightwing in my life, and I want him
sure.
to have his own things and to be treated like he deserves because the character is a star, but for some reason DC has completely fumbled him entirely. Uh, and this could have been a chance to maybe bridge us towards that, right?
Hmm.
Making Nightwing a more mainstream, more serious franchise property within the DC universe itself.
Yeah.
And sucks that it's been so horribly received by so many people
Yeah.
because I still, and I say it all the time, say it again, it's an actual crime against humanity that we've had not one but two Suicide Squad movies and not a single Nightwing movie. That's
Yeah.
absurd to me.
Yep.
Absurd.
Yep. He's not even in them. And the thing with it, I think that DC is actually did a very good job differentiating Nightwing from Batman. I think they did a really
Yes.
good job of that. Uh, and he is a cool character. He just certainly deserves his own thing. But it is what it is. And you know, but the last comment I'll make on this is once again they say, well, we'll fix it over time. And it's like we get this shit out of these AAA companies over and over and over again. Don't do that. please release it as a working game. Stop this nonsense of putting these unfinished games out. It's bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
bullshit because if an indie
and it's
if an indie did that, no one would play the game and it'd be dead in the water. But everybody's like, "All right, fine, we'll be patient with Mr. AAA." It's like, why? You know, it's
it's
true, right?
simply because they've got us by the balls. If you want games that are supposed to be of the absolute top quality, which is what AAA means,
Hmm.
uh, it's become the industry standard, and it shouldn't. I agree with you. It shouldn't be tolerated. It shouldn't
No.
be acceptable. I would have hoped Cyberpunk would have fixed that mentality
Oh well.
because it was the most hyped game probably in the history of gaming. The hype was
S-
insane for that game.
It
It was on
was.
another level, and it flopped. I mean, it did worse than flop. It was an actual catastrophe
Oh, it hurt him
of a
bad.
video game.
It did. And we talk
And
about
you
that,
would
but
think
but CG Project Red is dead, dude. They've gone woke. They've gone woke.
I told you they were.
Completely woke.
I
Yeah.
told you that before Cyberpunk came out. That's what was happening
Yeah, it's a
because
shame.
they brought in a bunch of Westerners to help them with their marketing, and
Yeah.
that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
That's where it's what it always happens. That's what happened to Twitter. What happened to YouTube. What happened to Google in a lot of ways. These marketers come in and they start telling you that you have to be more pick a buzzword. So they start being more pick a buzzword, and then everybody just gets like right, and it just filters out from there.
Right.
That's what always happens. This idea that for some reason, if you aren't massively promoting homosexuals, you hate them
Hmm.
and you company must then fail is preposterous.
Right.
They're a tiny minority of people,
Why
first
can't
of
I
all.
just be indifferent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to
Um,
apathy?
but no, it is true. And I saw that interview with their marketing guy, and it's like, well, okay, I can see what you did there, buddy. You listened and believed, and you didn't go do any actual research yourself. And I would
That's
love
right.
to see how much money they're paying you to not do your job. Is
A
what I
lot.
would like to see.
A lot of
Uh,
money.
because I know if you had me in the boardroom, I would be cracking heads. And I didn't really put anything up here about Elon, but Elon is having way too much fun.
Oh, he's cracking heads right now. He just
He's
put out
he's
a tweet
just
20 minutes ago
yeah,
uh, with some of the apparently appears to be some of the board's internal communications quite literally admitting that they were doing what Elon has been accusing them of doing.
sure.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah,
Uh-oh.
but he's just loving it, dude. He's just loving it. He's a happy little Elon, and he's
He's in
just
his
he
glory
in
right
his
now.
glory,
He is
yeah.
in his
And
glory.
okay, just sit back and enjoy the show, I guess. But it is a shame with this, but we keep saying that. So I don't know. I think we've said here continuously, go check out the indies because they have a higher bar. They're held to a higher bar, and
Yeah.
you just get better stuff from them.
Well,
Stop.
here's the thing. If the AAA games would let go of their own hubris and just do pre-release stuff, do early access stuff, these
Yeah,
problems all go away for them. If
sure.
this game had been released in that state where they were like, listen, we're going to finish polishing it, but when you know you want to get your hands on it, here
Hmm.
you go.
Yeah,
And we're going to that's the deal. It's an
and it
early release,
works.
whatever you want to call it. It
Yeah,
works every
I
time
do
for
it.
the indie guys as long as they, fulfill their promise and finish the
Right.
game. Um, and these publicly traded companies would be required to by law. If they put that out there, they would have to finish it.
The problem
So,
is they'd have to charge half the price. That's the problem. They won't do that.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's the issue, though. But if they would let go of that, they could easily solve this problem of the disaster that is the PR scandal. If Cyberpunk had done that, if they had just been honest and said, listen, we really like what we've done so far. It's not fully ready yet. It's not fully up to our standards. But if you really want to play it right now, give us $30 and we'll let you play it
Yeah.
right now.
And it
They
looked
had
like
just
they were
done
about a
that.
year out too. It looked like they only
Yeah.
needed another year. And the
They had
thing is,
just done that, solved them problems.
we waited so long anyway. I mean, why didn't you
Yeah.
just go for it? But I do have a couple other things that follow the same vein in here today. But talking about things that are changing, because that is my thing. And let's continue on with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Social justice activist. Oh, those are just words.
Yes.
Says white people must skip Black Panther Wakanda Forever
Hmm.
on opening weekend.
Hmm.
Quote, this is a quote. To do anything other than this is anti-black.
Mhm, mhm.
Well,
Now,
don't worry. I have full intentions of skipping. I'm gonna be the most straight up Swahilian representative of the black people.
mhm,
I'm gonna be in my what's those hats called? What's those hats that they wear? The weird looking hat. I'm gonna be one of them. I
duck,
can't remember the name.
something like that.
I'm gonna be rocking one of them because I'm gonna go even further, bud. I'm not gonna see it at all.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I'm gonna keep my white ass at home.
I
That's what
can
I'm gonna do.
I can feel the Grimlock's rage, so I will get a word in edgewise now. The funny thing about this is it's more than this headline says. They're actually saying white people don't dare you go to it, but it's more than that. They're saying white men, white people, go out there and buy a ticket and give it to a black man. So it's like, okay, so I'm going to buy a ticket. I'm going to go up to this poor, pathetic creature of a black and say, in my white superior, awesome levelness, here, little person, here, lower creature, I know you have nothing of value. Let me help enrich your entertainment, excitements.
Yeah,
It's you know what it is. You know what that is? That's racism.
that's it. Yeah, that's racist. That's
That is
definitely
racism. Saying
yeah.
"go away, white man." Well, that's racist too. But now you guys are so special that not only are you racist to the whites, you're also racist to the blacks.
Yeah.
And it's like, my goodness, dude. My goodness, you hate your own people that much.
Yeah,
And the fact is, it isn't even your people. You do realize you're American, dumbass.
that's right. You're a
I'm
mutt
sorry.
like the rest of
I do apologize, Grimlock. You may have the floor.
No need to apologize, because these stupid niggas,
us.
these professional dumb fucks, active. I wish black people would stop letting these dumb motherfuckers be their representatives. Stop letting these people speak on their behalf, because most black people don't give a fuck if white people go to this fucking movie. They
Why
don't.
would they? Yeah,
Well, yeah, why would they? Because the first one was shit. I hate to tell people.
it
No,
was.
I don't hate. I don't hate telling people. In fact, if I could, I would get an erection off of it. That movie is the absolute definition of mediocrity. And I know people say, "Oh, but it drew $1 billion." Yeah, you know what? Nicki Minaj draws money too. Doesn't make her a good artist. You can be mediocre and sell. We see it all the time. That
Hmm.
movie was mediocre. It's it's one of the, I would say, the early catalysts of Marvel's cinematic universe going to shit, because it was, well, Captain Marvel was the first, but it's one of those movies where they just do shit to do shit. The story you could have told compared to the story you actually told was so bland. Like, I still can't believe, considering that they went about this social justice shit, that they did not do Panther's Revenge in full in the first movie.
Hmm.
That could have been, you could have had that story. Here
They
you
could have.
have
Yeah.
a white man invading this black country, killing the protagonist's father, and becoming this supervillain, because you never see Claw actually be fucking Claw. So,
It's
uh,
true. Yeah.
like, and then you kill him midway through the movie for what? So you can have Michael B. Jordan do some pretentious speech about something the Wakandans never endured.
Yeah. No. And
And
it is dumb because this is a just mediocre entertainment. I mean, let's be fair. It doesn't really mean anything. It's not that
it
important, especially seeing as this Namor, which we're looking at right here. I'm a bit
is not
wider,
fucking
but he's
Namor.
basically got my body. I don't know that I want my body on the cinema.
No,
Yeah, it's a shame with Namor because he just. I honestly, I don't know this dude at all. I've seen some of his interviews. He's everything wrong with the entertainment industry. I'll be honest with you. In one person, he encapsulates the entire attitude. That's the problem. Where he
yeah, and
genuinely, it seems like he genuinely doesn't think he should be held to the same, just certain standards. And he also has taken Namor being turned into some sort of Hispanic, some sort of weird
Well, it's not even
Mayan
Lantean. They changed it.
creature.
You know.
Yeah, it's Talocan or something like that. He's decided that this is a great victory for Hispanic people, which, I mean, I hate to tell Hispanic people this, but I will remind them all the time. Hispanics not real. That was made up by the U.S. government. Sorry.
Mhm.
Uh, but regardless, the idea that he's done some great victory. First of all, you didn't do anything, buddy. It was people at Marvel who made this decision, not you. And second of all, uh, your entitlement that comes through in your statements repeatedly shows why you look like a doughy middle-aged man trying to play a
Hey
superhero.
now,
Trying to play a superhero who is known for his physical prowess, by the
my
way.
wife likes my doughiness.
Yes, but you're not a superhero, Chester.
It's true. But no, looking at the photos of him, it's very similar. I mean, my gut's a little bigger, I suppose, but it's very similar. It's a dad bod, is what it is.
Yeah, dad bod.
Uh,
Dad bod superheroes. We've come to that point now.
yeah,
That's where we're at.
yeah,
Dad
Jesus.
bod
fat
superheroes.
acceptance.
Yep.
But yeah, no,
You got to give it to DC on that one though. They ain't about that. Their two big guys, two big stars, are jacked to the gills. They are big old boys. Big old
even
Oh,
Gal
and,
went and worked out. She did try, you know.
Yep.
and if what I heard is true, it is about this movie. Also, no shame, utter disgusting way to just keep using just dragging Chadwick Boseman's dead name through the fucking mud
Those are some ugly
Yeah.
women,
to
by
show
the
this
way.
fucking movie.
Some ugly women.
Well,
I would
well, not
definitely
even.
kick that out of the bed. Yeah,
Well,
I
yeah,
know that doesn't
yeah.
matter, but it's funny.
Ugly. God, I don't know why they did that to those women. Those women are not that bad. I've seen those damn women. They don't look like that. So.
Yeah.
This message is to all our would-be
Oh, not this
accomplices
idiot again, please.
and
I
No,
don't
no.
want to hear
white
this idiot.
She has
allies.
big glasses.
This
I'm
message
supposed
is
to
to all the
listen.
white people who have
Supposed to
BLM in
slap
their
the piss
bio.
out of
I
her.
don't have
Do
BLM
you
in my
really
bio.
want to prove to black people
I
that
don't.
you love us and you care about
I
us and
do
you are
not
down
love
for
you
the
or care
cause?
about you at
Do
all.
not go see that
No,
movie
you're
on
supposed
the
to.
weekend.
No,
You don't
no.
even enter my
You buy
mind.
your ticket, you give
Again.
it to a black
She's
person
the
or a
type
black
of
family
woman
who
I
can't
would
afford to
I
go.
would
And then
Okay.
you
I
go
would pull
sit
up
at
a
that
photo of
theater
Ike
in
Turner
front
and
of
bless
the
it, and then
doors.
haul
You make
back to
sure every black
Alabama.
It's
person
true.
in that
It's
theater
true.
can enjoy
Guess
that
what?
movie in
Well,
peace.
you know the good
You
thing.
make sure.
We're safe. Because
Yeah,
I
we're good.
don't have BLM in my bio, so I'm good. I'm good.
Listen, I'm not. I'm official. It's official now. The speaker for all black people here, this one here, she has decreed that I am not only not racist, I'm anti-racist, Chester. Because not only am I not going to go see this movie,
Yeah,
I
you
am
shouldn't.
never going to go see this movie.
We've been told you shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
You know, so just don't.
I've
You know.
won. Where do I get the? Is there a badge? Is there some kind of
Can I have a
armband
badge?
that I
I
wear?
didn't see
Yeah.
Wakanda forever.
I'm about to go to hell for what I'm about to say. I would buy a black person fentanyl before I'd buy him a ticket to this fucking
Holy
movie.
shit, dude. That's pretty bad. You know what you could do to help out your fellow sister? Is tell her that that's not how you spell lavender.
Oh, well, I mean, she wants to talk about, how black culture
Fucking
this or whatever,
retarded.
right? She wants to be big on black excellence. Cool. I want you to be as well. Stop wearing glasses then, bitch. Black
Well,
people didn't
dude,
invent
the
that.
glasses tell me I have to listen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Nope.
Yeah.
You just gotta
Listen to
take
what?
you just get to be blind. That's it. No, I don't want to hear it. If you want black people to only be able to enjoy movies, which black people also didn't invent, but fine. If that's the way you want to play the game, cool. Live by your own values. Take those glasses off. Take all those clothes off that were definitely not invented by black people, and live like the Africans that you for some reason think are godlike, even though they hate your guts, most of them.
Yeah.
Go live like them in their situation, the way that with the things that they invented, and then you can talk about cultural
Can
appropriation or
I
whatever
have my
nonsense you're
dreadlocks
using.
back?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, dreadlocks too. Yeah, the dreads too. The Vikings did that first. Yeah. So,
Well, the Celts technically, but okay.
well,
But
same difference.
well, I mean, I love that argument. They're saying you can't wear dreads. It's like, well, they're more
Why?
my culture than your culture. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's
Do I get
weird.
to since I'm a Cherokee mutt? Do I get to tell people they can't have popcorn? Because I will. Because I'll eat it all myself.
You go
'Cause
right ahead. Yeah,
that's
you
ours.
should
You
tell
see, we
them
made
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we could take the spectacles back because they're not from
Yep.
there either.
They're just so fucking stupid. And
It's so dumb.
again,
That's
it's
why we're
just
being facetious.
He's idiotic. I'm not. I want some. I wish somebody would just. I wish somebody would have just came and slapped the taste out of her mouth. He just say. I say something that fucking stupid and think somebody should take you seriously.
Well,
Exactly.
she did specify if you have BLM in your bio, and I
Yep.
never would.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, honey. Are you gonna ask BLM what happened to that other $78 million?
Oh no,
They
don't do that.
embezzled went.
Not allowed. Yeah, but
Well, so
it's
then
just
fuck
all
up
of the
about them too.
all of the crazy nonsense going around this movie. And the simple fact of the matter is just a little fantasy movie for one. The first one wasn't great. Hopefully this one will be better. We can hope, right? And
No, it's not.
you know,
The
I am
clips
not.
I've seen of this movie so far, Chester. Uh, One was shit, but it looks like masterpiece theater compared to this.
Oh well. But I have to say though that this mulatto queen, she's hot.
Yeah,
Isn't that Angela Bassett, if I'm not mistaken?
it
She's
is. Yeah,
hot, dude. She's
Madam
hot
Bassett.
lady. I don't
Yeah,
think
Angela
she's.
Bassett 30 years ago decided to say fuck aging, and
Yes,
she
she
said,
did. And she's the farthest thing away from an African, but you know,
Don't tell them that,
"You
Chester.
ain't kicking her out of bed, all right?"
They're very
mm-mm.
big on it.
That's a smoking old lady. I saw a lot of stuff. Now we know like, Jamie Lee Curtis with these ridiculous Halloween reboots that have gone on. But
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis, she's got a big mouth and she's an idiot feminist. But okay, okay, okay. But I saw a lot of memes picking on her for being old, and I was like, dude, that's a 70-something-year-old woman. She's smoking hot for that age.
Yeah.
Smoking hot for that age. What are
Not
you
bad.
talking
Not bad at
about,
all.
dude?
Not bad at all.
Right?
There's a few of them out there that they just decided one day, nope, I'm done
Yep.
aging. I've
Yep.
aged enough,
Yep.
and that's
Yep.
just where they're at. But
Yep.
Patrick Stewart was that way for years.
He
He
was.
just
Well,
just stayed the exact same for
he
like 3 decades.
well, if you remember when he was in Dune, he was like 30
Yeah.
and he looked like he was 105. I mean, he
Yeah.
just has that phase. Oh, dude, one of the Cabins of Curiosity and the Lovecraft one actually. It has Rupert Gint in it.
Rupert Gint.
The one of the three friends from Harry Potter, the Ron Weasley.
Yeah.
I haven't seen hide nor hair of him. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh
I
my
don't even.
God, but he looks like he's 58, dude.
Well, sometimes the gingers see they go they go one way or the other. The gingers, they either don't age or they age like milk.
Yeah, no,
And
he's not good, dude.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
he's aged like
And
milk.
he's had seriously bad drug problems. I mean, really, really
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It doesn't
off,
help.
like way off kilter drug problems. But nevertheless, the only good thing we have to say, therefore, is Angela Bassett. Damn woman.
Yeah, that's the only good
Yeah.
thing
See,
about that
now
movie.
I gotta go.
If you want to fap to Angela Bassett for 2 hours, then go see the movie.
Well, there
But
is a scene that we've seen in the trailers where M'Baku beats his chest like an ape. That's cool.
Sweet. That's sweet. Oh,
Yeah.
she did. See, I
Yeah.
was wondering if she did the two T's. I was wondering. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I see you. But yeah, damn girl.
I just
She looks
hate it.
good.
Well, they completely dropped the ball. Black Panther could have been cool, but they couldn't help them fucking selves, and then
Well, the worst part
Chadwick
is
dying. They made a bad thing. They found a way to make a bad thing even worse.
Yeah.
when it comes to like the art direction and all the stuff around the scripting and the directing, they did a great job. Like I really like the way Wakanda looked. I like the way that they captured a lot of African culture. They did a very good job of like trying to blend that into something, some sort of modern take or whatever you want to call it. The problem is everything else around it. Like, this has been a problem in Hollywood for a while. A lot of the art guys and a lot of the cinematography guys and the lighting and the special effects, they've been killing it. They've been doing their job to an unbelievable level. It's just been the directors and the writers who have this, and the producers and the actors who have this mind virus, and they can't get out of their own damn way and tell a good story within the world that the art directors and guys build for them. And that's a
Oh,
tragedy because even this movie aesthetically, it looks different than other Marvel movies for one, and for two, it does have some pretty cool cinematography in the shots that we've seen. Like I mentioned, M'Baku banging his chest, Namor flying around with his little wings. They actually pulled that off and made it look cool. It's just we all know what this movie's going to be. It's going to end up being rah rah white man bad. We all know it, and it's going to be the worst example of it in Hollywood probably ever, of just blatant racial grievance played out in a movie that has shouldn't have anything to do with it really. But for
Mhm.
some reason, these people can't help themselves.
Now, I was curious why they're wearing white, but I won't get into it. I'm going to move on. To
Leave it
be
alone,
fair,
Chester.
well, the black funeral arrangements are really a Roman thing, to be fair. But whatever. I'm moving on from it. So let's go to something that happy
Isn't
news.
trash?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. The Suicide Squad director James Gunn and film producer Peter Safran appointed heads of DC Studios. Now this is interesting because there's two of them for one, and that often doesn't work out. One usually takes the reins over the other. What this seems to me, and this is just a total guess from the outside, obviously, is that Zaslav wants to have a much more uh, hands-on approach to what comes out of DC. He wants
Hmm.
to be very much in control of that, and these guys are just going to be the managers of it, and that's why there's
Well,
two of them. Because why do you need two heads of the same studio?
well, actually, that might be have been part of the conversation, but it's actually the reason you have to is because Safran himself made that happen. He was Zaslav made put him in charge alone, right? And he said that, well, I really not the best creative person. I'm good at managing. I really would like to have a creative with me. And they sat down and had conversations, and it was decided to bring in exclusively to be the creative director. So, Safran is the actual boss, and Gunn is the creative guy.
Gotcha.
And there's other people too. So you're right though, because this is not the whole big group is is part of it. It's not as standalone as it used to be, which I agree with you. I think it's a better idea. But
Yep.
the question, and that's nice what he said, and we know that James is very capable. We know he is. But here's the thing, though. Safran is, he's an executive type, and I'm sure he'll be fine. But is it really the best choice to have James Gunn as your creative director, though? I mean, I don't know because I like the stuff he does, but I understand. I also don't understand what he is, and what he
Yes.
does when he does his thing, it's good. But it does he have the creative capability to go beyond his shtick? Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
there's only one way to find out, I guess.
I guess.
Here's the problem. I think the world, in fact, needs Superman right now.
Hmm.
We could really use Superman done right. Right? We could it's just like a just culturally, I think a lot of people could use that in their lives. And for a lot of people, Superman has been an actual symbol of hope throughout their whole life, right? I mean, he's been there as long as all of us have been alive combined, just about. So that I think is something that's needed. Here's the real question you have to ask yourself. We know they're getting ready to make more Superman. Um, do you trust James Gunn with Superman?
Well, that's the question. Yeah, because Safran, he like I said, he's more of an executive. He was behind the Lego movies, I guess
Yeah.
is where he's coming from. But he's more an executive type, and he knows that. So that's cool. He's self-aware. But that is true. And now keep in mind that we're going to talk about Henry a little bit today, but a preview. Henry has said in several tweets recently that he's very happy to be back on with doing Superman stuff, and he's very happy to be bringing a joyous Superman. He used this
Yeah,
word.
that's right.
He did say
Correct.
that.
That's what
So
we need.
yeah, and that's the thing about James, because I know you really don't like him. And with me, I think he just was an idiot edge lord dumbass during that whole dumbassery time, and it came back and bit him hard. Beyond that, Peacemaker shows you he's a vulgar guy. Is what he is. He's vulgar,
Mhm.
right? And that's what he does. Okay, that's fine. You either like it or you don't. But can he be the creative force behind, say, Superman or Batman or something that's meant to be taken like a Matt Reeves Batman? Is this the
Right.
dude to be making those kind of final decisions?
Well,
Now,
from what I understand, they're gonna be separate even still, right? So they're what the plan is for Matt Reeves's thing to be kind of in its own corner, from what I understand, right? It's its own deal, and he's gonna pretty much have control over there, and they're not gonna have too much say in it, right? The DC, these two aren't. At least that's from initially what the thought is going forward, how they're gonna handle it, because they don't want to mix, or at least Matt doesn't want to mix his Batman and his Gotham with the broader
right,
DCEU.
right.
And to be honest, right now, that wouldn't work anyway. The
Well,
Batman we have now doesn't make any sense in that context. There's no way that would work.
it also
So they would
comes.
have to evolve it.
But it also comes into thinking too, is this the type of guy who is going to be, nope, it's my way or the highway? Or is he a guy that sits down and says, all right, I like your flavor. Let's see where you go with it. I mean, what kind of dude is he? Right? We
Right.
don't really know that about James Gunn, right? We don't. Now, the
We're gonna
fact that
find
he's
out, I
coming out
guess.
of trauma is where, that's where he's coming from. His early career was with Trauma Pictures, right? And, Toxic Avenger and all that kind of crap, that, B level stuff. He's coming
Mhm.
out of that. So he's coming out of a person who's actually been in the ditches and worked hard decade, for decades, actually doing the business of making films. He's not like what we see a lot of days. They pull this person who's the right color or the right gender and just that
Mhm.
have done nothing and just give him a film. We see this all the time. He's not that. This guy has been in the trenches, dude, right?
Yeah.
For a long time. And therefore, does he have the mentality of understanding how run by committee works? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. I just want a good Superman movie. I want an
Yeah,
actual Superman movie.
yeah.
We haven't had an actual Superman movie in my entire life, to be honest.
Well, you know,
They've tried. They've made a couple of good faith efforts here or there, but they have never not in live action anyway. They have
well,
never landed.
Henry seems to think we're getting one.
Good. I hope he's right.
So,
Uh, because Henry is. It's a shame that Henry. Hopefully, with his new deal, he has a little bit more say. Because I think Henry understands the character better than even Snyder. Definitely better than Snyder ever did, but probably better than most people understand. He is a big Superman fan first and foremost. He's been very clear on that. You can watch interviews of him where he's talking about Superman and the lore and all this stuff, and he knows his stuff. He's a nerd at
yeah,
heart.
sure, he is.
So he knows him some Kal-El.
Well,
So I hope that's what we get. But here's my other biggest gripe, Chester. You saw Black Adam, I saw Black Adam. You
yeah,
saw the little thing at the end in the suit he's wearing.
sure.
I didn't see no trunks. And if he ain't wearing them trunks, I'm out. I don't care how good the movie is. I
Well,
want my little underwear on my Superman, or I don't want my Superman.
yeah,
That's where I'm
well,
at. I'm done with it.
I think you
I'm a
might. I
traditionalist.
think you might
I
have a
want the
little
trunk.
disappointment coming.
Nope,
But
I want them trunks.
let's roll this conversation into what I want to talk about is Henry
Look at him.
himself. Look at this man. And I want to talk a little bit about Henry here to lead in from that article to this, with which you said is the fact of what kind of push does Henry himself have? Because I will give you an example. We know that him being back is 100% Dwayne Johnson. We know this.
That's
This
right.
is not a secret, right? But we did get a little bit more information come out here, the past couple of days actually, that is very telling, because uh, the Hamada and all those guys who have been fired, all of them, right?
Yep.
Dwayne said
Good.
that he was fighting tooth and nail against them because and he was outvoted, by the way.
Mhm.
They were, because he was like, no, you got to have Henry in, you got to do this, and they're like, no, we're going with the Black Superman. That was the
Yep.
decision. They were going to
Right.
go with what's that kid's name?
Was it Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, they're going with him as Superman. And like I said, there are other black characters like Superman you could have done with him, but
Yeah.
whatever. That was the final decision. Dwayne was trying to fight against it, and he lost that battle. Now Zaslav has won it back. So
The axe here.
yes, so we know Dwayne's got a lot of push, but he didn't have enough push. The question is, how much push does Henry have in comparison to say Dwayne? Who's the bigger superstar?
Dwayne, The Rock.
Is he though?
Um, yes.
Because
But
Henry is getting offers on every freaking thing you can imagine, dude.
yes, rightfully so. But the reason why The Rock is the bigger superstar is international markets, which, as we know, aren't as big of a deal as Hollywood pretends because they don't get as much money out of
That's
it.
true. Yeah.
But internationally, he is beloved, especially in like the East. For whatever reason, they love them some Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he's fun.
and Henry's not as much. Not that he's disliked or anything, but it's just not that level.
Hmm.
He's much more popular in the West, especially with the white boys. The white boys love them some Henry. All of us do. He's just the man. He
Well,
is literally everything that we're not supposed to have. He is the most beautiful man on the planet. He's in incredible shape. He's incredibly talented and disciplined and professional. And he's a super nerd.
well, if
Like he's
you
not
if
just
you
a
love him
nerd.
so much, why don't you just marry him?
I would love to because
Yeah,
he's rich.
that's fine.
He's a super nerd.
He is.
So he's one of us, is my
He is
point.
one of
Even though he
us.
looks like he literally walked out of Olympus himself, he just walked right out in one day and decided to be immortal. He's a nerd at heart, a super nerd who loves him some Superman, and he loved The Witcher and everything else too.
Hmm.
So that's why he's so beloved over here, and why I think you're seeing him get all these offers because they are throwing everything at him at
They
once
are.
here. Um, I hope he takes some of it because I want him to have an
Well,
insane career. Because I've said this before, and then I'll let you go. I've said this before. He is the last actual movie star. Besides, like the older guys, like your Tom Cruises or whatever, even The Rock, he's not a movie star. The Rock's
no, no, he's not.
just a superstar.
He's an
But
action hero. Yeah.
Henry, yeah, Henry is a movie star, and there's something about that that's just different than most of these other guys. All these other guys, they just don't have this aura about him. He stays out of the trauma. He doesn't get involved in it. You never ever ever see him getting in the mud with people, or you don't ever hear rumors about Henry was difficult or this or that or none of that. No,
No.
he's above all of that. He has class. He has poise. He has integrity. By all accounts, this isn't just like my observation as a fan. That you've never heard anybody say anything bad about him, except the weirdos like Hamada and them, who for whatever reason hated Henry Cavill, despised him,
Yeah,
and made that very
because
known, very apparent.
he's not one of them. But no,
Yeah.
he's smart enough to know to shut his damn mouth. He is.
Yes. He just
And
shuts up and does his job.
I'll tell you what, at the end of that Black Adam movie, when he comes up in his cameo, the audience is erupted.
Yep.
People actually
Yep.
were cheering in the theaters to see him.
Now, I think he could be a bigger star than The Rock going forward,
I
especially if
personally
the
think he
Superman
already
movie hits.
is. But
But as of right now, the biggest box office draw in Hollywood, I think, is still Chris Pratt, followed by The Rock.
yeah,
So
well,
that's just the way it is.
Well, keep in mind it does have a lot of offers coming, and he's also canceled some things. He's not going to be in The Witcher anymore, and a lot of
Right.
people are arguing why he's doing that. Now, it could be just simply has better offers, but we also know there's been a lot of stink coming out.
Yes.
People complaining about the writers' room and how much they can't stand the Witcher character, and it's like it's called The Witcher, and the
Yes.
fact that everyone wanted more Henry, but they just didn't give it to you. It's not they didn't give you The Witcher
Well,
as much as
also,
they should,
he had said from day one that he's in it for the long haul if the writing and the direction of the show stays faithful to the books.
which is
They've
not.
already done last season, they already had a humongous alteration by killing off one of the Witchers who's supposed to survive the whole saga and is supposed to be the best of the Witchers. Like he's the not like in skill, but just like morality wise. He's a good man. They killed him off. He's gone now.
Mhm.
That's a humongous change. That's a massive change, especially going forward for Ciri, who is mentored by this guy almost as much as Geralt. So that's a humongous change to Ciri's story and to Geralt's story because it's a change to Ciri's story. these sorts of things, I think, along with the fact that he had to argue, I don't know if it was a nasty argument because I don't think he's that type of guy, but he did have to fight for the fact that he didn't want the death of his horse to be taken as a joke. Because to Geralt, yes, he calls all of his horses the same name, but it's still his horse. He still loves his horse. Um, so they wanted to make it into some, witty Hollywood joke nonsense, and Henry was like, "No, no, let me try something else," basically. And he tried it in a much more serious way, and it obviously was a lot better.
Sure.
Because again, it's just understanding as a man, I think, and he is one. This is your companion. Like he's not just a
Yeah.
horse. He's not a car. That's a living, breathing companion. That's your friend. You're with him more than he's with that horse more than he's with any other person there is. That's who he spends all of his time with, is Roach. So if something happens to Roach, he's going to be heartbroken about it. He's not
Sure.
going to just be like, oh, and
Yeah.
that
Well,
kind of stuff, just
Hollywood.
that little stuff for a star who takes his craft very seriously is enough to drive him off a project. And I
Yeah.
honestly think that played more of a role than the Superman thing. I think if he hadn't got the Superman thing, he would have just grinned and bared it and did his job. But because he's back as the Man of Steel, he's like, listen, I don't have to put up with this anymore. So
That's true. And he
peace.
has other things. There's a lot of noise about him being the next Bond,
He needs
right?
to be the next Bond.
And he'd
Period.
be perfect for it. He's getting to that
Yeah.
proper age to be able to do it.
Yep.
Because you don't want a young Bond. You want that, pushing 40. That's kind of who
Yeah.
Bond needs to be. And he's getting
Seasoned,
in, he's getting there. So
seasoned and experienced. That's
yes.
what you want James Bond to be.
And he's got
And
another
Henry
spy
Henry
movie
can
coming,
carry it.
by the way. Very soon, he's got a spy movie
Yep.
coming. But the point with it is his star is certainly rising. He's getting lots and lots of opportunity. I hope they don't. I hope he is able to, balance it, because we don't want to have the Chris Pratt effect, right? Where
Right.
we're just too much of him,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But damn, Grimlock, that is a handsome man.
He's a handsome boy. He's a good looking man.
Yeah, yeah.
Grimlock's muted. I'm not sure if he's here at the moment. But the
He's
I
probably
really do
slurping on something.
I really do hope that this new Superman movie is what we all want because everybody wants the same thing. I have not talked to a single person who wants to see more edgy Superman. I don't think that person exists in a serious way.
No,
I think pretty much everybody wants to see fucking Superman,
and
the
he can do
symbol
it
of
too.
hope. Oh, absolutely, he can do it. The Boy Scout, the antithesis of what Black Adam was in his movie. That's what we need Superman to be.
Yeah,
And I really hope that they find somebody who knows how to write that. I haven't seen anybody in Hollywood in years that could write that and not make it come off as corny or cheesy. Maybe they'll find somebody who
well,
can. The only person I've seen in the last decade to write a Superman story is the guy who writes My Hero Academia with All Might. That is how
yeah,
you write that character. Now, yeah,
yeah.
All Might's a little bit over the top and
A
cheesy,
little
but that's
comedic,
mostly
yeah,
just that's mostly just Japanese humor. But he understands when the serious moments is when he nails it.
yeah, yeah,
And that is the type of writing you need for Superman.
yeah.
And
Well,
that is I haven't seen anybody do it. So maybe I'll be wrong. I'll be glad to be wrong, but I haven't seen anybody bring that level of nuance to the writing in the
well,
West.
his little end credit cameo in Black Adam was a pretty soft Superman.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, he said very clearly that I haven't. It's been a while since anyone's made the world so nervous. We should talk.
Yeah.
He didn't say we have
We
to
should talk.
talk. We need to talk. He said we should talk.
That's right.
Right? It's a much.
Peaceful. A
Yeah.
lot of peace in his
It's a lot of
voice.
peace. Yeah. Yeah. As
Yeah.
it should be.
Yes, because that's what he is. He's not. He could be, an absolute monster if he wanted to
Oh
be,
yeah.
but he chooses not to be. He is literally the perfect encapsulation of what Stoicism is supposed to be. You're
Yeah.
not
And
supposed to be weak and emotionless as a Stoic. You're supposed to have all that because you're a human. Well, he's not a human, but you know what I mean. But you're supposed to have it under control. And that's what he is. He has everything under control. He controls himself. That's why Man of Steel is such a damn abortion, because he doesn't
yeah,
control
because he
himself.
doesn't have
It pisses
control.
me off.
Yeah. They made a lot of mistakes in that movie. But yeah, no. And if you want to see what an evil Superman looks like, go read Irredeemable.
Yeah,
It's a great comic book. But that
yeah,
it's basically an evil Superman, but
right.
not Superman. Anyway, Just interesting to see what goes on with Henry the next 10 years, seeing what's going on with him because
I honestly think as long as there's not any huge flubs from the creative side, he will be the biggest star in the world. I
I think
honestly think
so.
that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so because he's got way more going on than Dwayne Johnson does, way more.
Yep.
And no, Alan, the Snyderverse is dead in the water.
Thank God.
Let us hope. Yes, please
No,
let
no,
it
it's
be dead.
definitely dead in the water.
The
Zaslav has
only
been
good
quite
thing
clear.
he did, there was two good things he did, period, is Superman's fight with Steppenwolf, that whole him just dominating Steppenwolf and that whole energy he has was the best Superman on screen we've had since the 70s.
Yeah, and his fight
And
with the Justice League. Yeah,
his fight with the well, okay, three things. And his fight with the Justice League, but he also gave us Darkseid that looked like Darkseid. Now, granted, he put up with way more bullshit than Darkseid ever would, but he at least looked like Darkseid, and that I appreciate.
yeah,
As a comic nerd at heart, I'm like, oh, there's my boy. There he is. There's
yeah.
Darkseid.
For a
Because
second, right, you saw some cool stuff, and that fight with the Justice League when they wake him up. And of course, that was dumb, killing him so soon. It was just dumb.
dumb
Foolish people
waste.
handling stuff, wasted.
Yeah,
They could have built into that much better. But nevertheless, him waking up and just absolutely handling the Justice League, no
yeah,
problem, right? As it should be, as it should
that's
be.
right.
He often will let others speak and have them have their voices at the forefront, other than him. He does that all the time. But when push comes to shove, ain't no one touching Superman, right? And
No,
then that's how Superman should be, right?
that's right.
Yeah. So it was
That's what
awesome.
he needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. Because I was worried because him dealing with Batman, okay, easy enough. And looked like Annie Lennox. That's true. Granny Goodness was not right, Alan. But I was worried when Gal came up, Wonder Woman came up to deal with to fight him. I was like, all right, what
They
are
were
you
going
gonna
to do
do
some
here?
bullshit.
But
Huh?
he just bitch slapped her, just
He had butcher.
done, right? Go away. It was like, all right, there's a little love. Anyway,
I love it.
let's. I got a couple.
The
I
one
got
thing that bothers me about Superman, these movies, is why don't they? Why I know it's not they're not considered the same thing, but why don't they ever just like take the writers from like the animated series
yeah.
and like have them
That's
do
a
a
good question.
screenwriting? Like
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
the animated series, like even for like a Superman normie such as myself, I would say is probably the best adaptation of him besides the '78 movie.
Yeah,
Yep,
no, the anime
I
series
agree.
did a good job.
Like
Yeah.
It has
so,
Chester's favorite line is from that animated series you're talking about, where he first meets Darkseid and is fighting him, and he says, I always have to hold back. I always have to walk around like everything's made of cardboard. But I don't have to with you, do I, big guy? And he blasts him in the
Yeah.
face as hard as he can.
It's
And
freaking
that's just a
awesome.
great moment.
It is a great moment, dude. It's such a Superman moment. Yeah, it's really good.
and my second favorite theme. It is a shame that Shirley Walker, unfortunately, is no longer alive. She should have done one DC movie
Yeah.
before
Nice.
she had passed.
But that's not the world we live in because it's all about what you look like and not what you no merit involved. But
The
hopefully
Rock was
Zaslav is going to
right.
Well,
change
she
that.
was the composer. I'm not saying on screen.
No,
She
no,
should
I know
have
what you mean.
composed one
Yeah, I know
DC
what you mean.
movie.
The
But
Rock was right though. He said, how does he been putting it? The most powerful force in the universe has been sitting on the sidelines for too long. And he's damn right. That's why that's see, me and The Rock probably have a lot of disagreements politically, but when it comes down to it, he understands his audience. He understands his fans better than most people do in Hollywood. Probably all of them in Hollywood, to be honest. And he gets it. He gets what the people. He's the people's champ, right? Like
yes,
he
yeah,
gets what the people want, and the people want their damn Boy Scout flying in the sky. That's
yeah,
it. That's
yeah,
what we want.
yeah.
Give us our flying Boy
Well,
Scout for crying out loud.
that report and a lot of little clips coming out on like I saw 'em on Twitter, but I'm sure TikTok is mainly where they were. And I don't know why people were filming in the theater. You're not supposed to do that. But
Yeah,
nevertheless, the just absolute uproar when Henry Cavill came out of the shadow.
that's right.
Right? I mean, it shows you, oh, people really want him as Superman, dude. It shows you very clearly. But anyway, let's move on here. Now, I do have a few trailers. I thought we'd have some trailer fun. Okay. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Trailer fun. Does this involve shopping carts? Because
yeah, well, it could. But we do have James Gunn has just been bought by DC, basically.
Yeah.
But he is going to have this come out and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So he does have two projects that are not DC that he's going to be finishing. And there's the other guy, this guy right here, the Saffron. He also will be having freedom to continue to do his Lego stuff. So, but James Gunn is locked down a little harder actually. But nevertheless, this is the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. I didn't even know it was coming. I had no clue it was coming soon on Disney Plus, and they got a
Been
trailer.
advertising that for quite some time, haven't they?
I have not paid attention to it.
I mean, granted, I can't blame you for not paying attention to the dog shit that has been the
Mhm.
Disney Plus Marvel, but
Mhm. Yeah. Well, let's watch it. Okay, like when I was a kid.
I just saw on the calendar that right now on Earth it's almost Christmas time.
We don't have time for trivialities like Christmas.
But Peter's so sad about Gamora being
Aw.
gone.
She's gone. Where does she go to? They
Maybe
brought her
if we
back.
go to Earth for a really wonderful Christmas gift. It would
Good
make
question.
him
And
happy.
why does Batista look so terrible?
Because it's a low budget holiday TV special.
Apparently.
Something special he will never forget.
He does look bad.
One special.
Aw, they have
We're
the
looking
Christmas
for the
spirit.
legendary Kevin Bacon.
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
I just said that, Drax.
Your voice is small and mousy. I think maybe he didn't hear you.
fuck.
You're coming with us as a Christmas present.
Okay, alrighty.
I'm just gonna say, so far this looks better than.
They got Cosmo in there. All right, that could be fun, and it is James
That is
Gunn.
that is the first trailer that Disney has put out Marvel related in at least 3 years where I like, wow, that was good.
One special.
Yeah, and you know you have to have the legendary Kevin Bacon. I mean, it as
That's
it
the rule.
should be. It is important. Yeah.
That's right.
Don't give them ideas, Hal. Do not give them ideas.
Which is funny because the last time Kevin Bacon was in a Marvel property was the X-Men.
Yeah.
Years ago now. Days
Yeah.
of Future
Yeah,
Past.
but he's playing himself. You know, the
Yeah.
legendary Kevin Bacon. So you know, and he is legendary. He's not quite Kurt Russell, but you know, he is Kevin Bacon.
Well, who wins?
That's true.
Who
That is
wins?
true.
So I'm assuming, because this thing was announced a while ago. I'm assuming the timeline for this is in between Infinity War and Endgame. If Gamora is not there,
Maybe that's the
Or
time frame.
maybe she just because she doesn't remember the falling in love, she just went her own way.
Yeah, she's
That could
peaced
be
Because
it
out.
too.
keep in mind, Gamora is a bitch. I mean, she's a real assassin, nasty bitch. She's not like
Yeah,
the
she's
other ones.
that's what she's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what that is right. I mean, but she, you know, so maybe it could be either or. But it does look fun. But you're right. Why is Drax color shifting? His skin color keeps shifting. Is it just the lighting, maybe?
I think it's
Maybe.
just the lighting and not as good of makeup. Plus, Batista, he's not looking as Batista-y anymore. His face is
Yeah, that-
changing as he ages.
Yeah, well, you know, it's to be expected. But he does
But then
play
you look
that
at
role
Kevin
really
Bacon.
well.
And he just looks like Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, that's true. He is the Baconator. Let's take a better look at.
The Bacon.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's getting a little baby faced here. But it's okay. He does play Drax. He was born to play that role, dude. He's perfect at it.
He's very good at Drax.
Yeah.
I wish we could get a little bit more seriousness out of him, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I think
it's
he's
okay. Honestly, the real comic book Drax is not funny at all. Zero funny.
No,
Yeah.
he would not fit in the Marvel
No.
cinematic universe very well.
Not at all. Not at all. But that's okay. This looks fun. This looks fun. I'll check it
But
out.
but the thing is, he has that irony to him. Because Drax is taking everything serious, but everybody else is looking at him like this big goof.
That's a good
But it's the
point,
one
Joshua.
time but it's the one time it works. That's why I get. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who gets mad when they keep trying to do that shit.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
Yeah.
that only works with certain characters and certain atmospheres.
Yeah,
It works with Drax.
it does work with Drax. And Joshua makes a very good point. They would be a dust if it was between Infinity War and Endgame. That's true. So
That's true.
it's simply that
Mhm.
she didn't have the love affair, doesn't really know who they are, so why would she hang out with them? It makes sense. And
Yeah,
yeah, so and maybe in the Guardians of the
you're
Galaxy
right.
3 they'll rekindle it somehow. But
Probably.
who knows? But to be fair, Guardians of the Galaxy is the most consistent fun that they have had in the Marvel cinema, universe,
Yeah.
cinematic universe. It is
I'm
the
trying
most
to think
consistent fun. Yeah,
of the ones that have had multiple movies. It's probably the best one
most
Yeah.
fun.
of the
Yeah,
individual franchises.
yeah.
So,
Because
like, you got Captain America, but the
Those are
first
good
Captain America movie
movies.
is good. The second Captain America movie is one of the best superhero movies ever made.
yeah,
Uh, and then the third one is, I think it's better than most people, but that's just because I'm a big Spider-Man mark, and he shows up and he's awesome.
Yeah, but
Uh,
they're not fun like Guardians are. Yeah, that's not the
yes,
same. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But that's the problem though. So we were talking about James Gunn right here. Here he is. He's being goofy and being zany and being fun. I don't want a zany, goofy, fun Superman movie. I
Right.
don't want a zany, goofy, fun Batman movie. I want a Batman movie and a Superman movie.
Yeah, but
That's what I want.
he because of his upbringing, where he worked through his, up to where he is, he might well be a committee based guy, and that's fine, right? That would
Could be.
work. It would work, but we'll have to wait and see. It's a choice. It is a choice. But and I'm more impressed really with Saffron because he understood his limitations and he insisted upon that limitation being fixed.
Yeah.
So that's a great sign, dude. That's a
He
great
pulled
sign.
he pulled a he pulled a oh, what was his name? A Marcus Aurelius. As soon as he was given power, he gave half of it away. That
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, no, he gets it. So that this guy is more interesting to me. What's going to happen with this guy in charge than Gunn? We know Gunn. He's a quantified resource, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, cool. That's a good start. But then again, we saw the Werewolf by Night trailer, and that looked good, but that was shit, dude. That
Don't
was
tell Eric that. He will show up
That was
and yell at you
bad,
again.
dude. It
Just
was really, really bad. But then again, we know this is another quantified thing, though. We know what these guys are, so we know what to expect. And
yeah.
it looks like it's just got Mantis and Drax in it mainly. So cool. They need a little more love anyway. I
Yeah.
think it's good. Yeah. Anyway, let's see the next one I got here. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. And I thought that they were still doing just like production trailers and stuff, but this says official trailer.
Yeah, this is the real deal.
So I'm like, okay, well, let's watch it. All
I used
right.
to ask myself a lot of questions. Scott, you're at ex-con.
You are.
How are you an Avenger? That doesn't make sense. But everywhere I go, people tell me the same thing.
But why doesn't that make
Thank you, Spider-Man.
Aw.
We still need help now. That's why we made this. It's like a satellite for deep space, but quanta.
Wait a minute. You're sending a signal
Who's
down
this
to the
girl?
quantum realm. Turn it off.
Oh, there she is.
Now.
Yeah, no, definitely. You dumbass. Shut that off. What are you doing? Oh, dude, are we getting the Annihilus wave? Dude. Dude, are we getting is this the Annihilus wave? Is that what's happening here?
I don't know.
Who's
We're getting
this
a lot
girl?
of green screen.
Is that the daughter
his
growing
daughter?
up? It
I
is,
think
dude.
that's his daughter.
I think that.
Wow. And she's wow. Okay. Oh, that's right, because the time skip. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
5-year skip, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a secret universe beneath ours.
Wow, they did a
What are you so afraid of?
lot of CG work there, ma'am.
There's something I never
You
told
are way older than that. Okay. Dude.
Place. It isn't what you think.
Dude, it is a nihilist.
Interesting.
Maybe. Oh God,
Hey!
that's worth
Got
10
Bill
points
Murray?
right there. Yeah.
And give you more time. If you help me.
Now,
So, what's it gonna be?
oh, it's Baron Mordor. Not Baron Mordor.
Kang.
Kang the Conqueror. Yeah. Why
Um,
would you have Kang in the microverse? Hold on.
Interesting.
Hold on a second. Now, okay, hold on a second. Now, it's initially the way they were doing it back here. I'm thinking that we're getting the Annihilus storyline, right?
Yeah.
It's like a satellite
Li-
for
li-
deep
listen.
space, but quantum.
Wait a minute. You're sending a signal down to the quantum realm.
And this would be a great way to introduce the Fantastic Four too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I'm confused why Kang would be in there at all, because this should be a nihilist we're looking at, right? It's Kang, and it makes no sense. You know, you're right, Adrian. I just said that. I get why the daughter's there. Angela, and the lady, the
Yeah.
wasp. What's her name? Angie Jolie, or no, it's not Angela. What's her name? It's something like that. Lily.
Killing me.
And Angela Lilly. Angelina Lilly.
Evangeline Lilly. Is that what it
Evangeline
is?
Lilly. Okay, yeah, that sounds better. Boy, she hit that wall hard, dude. Damn. No, I feel bad for her, dude. I feel bad for her, dude. I mean, she hit that wall hard.
Well, yeah, she's also got that little boy haircut.
Holy shit, dude.
Give you more time.
I believe they're punishing her for her
If you help me.
Maybe.
for
Why
boarding the
Kang?
truckers.
Yeah, look at this. Oh, dude. Oh my. Uh-oh. But having the daughter in there, which is not a bad idea. She was actually part of the storyline. Having her grown up and being whatever she's going to be, Sprite or something like that.
Bad shirt.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. But Lily, man, oh,
I still find it absolutely hilarious that they made Kang a black guy. 'Cause that's just the universe winking at me, Chester. That's what
it
that is.
is. But why in the hell would Kang be in this storyline? Why would he be in the microverse? That doesn't matter. It doesn't
Well,
make sense. He's a
that
time
looked like
traveler.
that looked like it might have been a post-credit scene, right? It looked like it might have been setting up the broader because Kang is supposed to be, if not the big bad, he's supposed to be involved with that going forward, right? The next
Really?
Avengers
Because
movie.
they seem to have dropped the ball on that.
So maybe that is what that is. Is it's setting up whatever's gonna because they use the Ant-Man movies, if you remember, they're a big deal when it comes to what happens in the movies going forward. Like the second one, they introduced the the quantum realm, whatever they call it,
Right.
which is the microverse.
Microverse.
And because of that, they were able to solve Endgame, right? Which was nonsense, but whatever.
Yeah.
But that whole thing, I mean, the reality is, if it wasn't for the fact that he went there and then the rat walked across the keyboard at just the right time in history, um,
Well,
they would have never been able to undo the snap,
Uatu
right?
did that. Uatu did that.
Yeah.
That was one of his interferences, I'm sure.
Oh God, see now that I would almost accept, except they didn't say that. So,
I would have had
but
I would have had
regardless,
image in the glass of the car showing Uatu.
yeah,
I would have done that.
just his
Yeah.
big head.
Why
Big head right
why
there.
wasn't he introduced by how why
Well, he
is
is.
he not?
They have introduced him.
Yeah.
The
He's
Watchers. He was
talking
in
to
one of the
Stan
What
Lee.
movies.
if?
Yeah, he's
Guardian of
talking
the
to Stan
Galaxy.
Lee.
Yeah.
Yep. But regardless, my point is I think that's what we're seeing here. I think we're seeing them using the Ant-Man yet again to set up whatever is going to be a big plot device in going forward, probably in the next Avengers movie.
Yeah, but this
Um,
should be the Annihilation series, dude.
it might still be, but they might. I mean, for crying out loud, look what they did with God Butcher, right? They made it into one film, and that wasn't gore by any stretch. I know Christian Bale did a great job in his performance, from what I understand, but that wasn't gore. There was nothing about him that was gore. It was ridiculous. Uh, but regardless, I think that they may be doing, and this is a problem that we were afraid was going to happen. They're blitzing through storylines now for whatever reason. Like they're just blitzing through them. So
Yeah,
like
I don't
God
know
Butcher
what they're doing.
could have been a couple Thor movies at least. Should have been, in fact.
It should have been. Yeah, it should have been.
Um,
I would have kind of put him in the background and do like a little mini thing like you did with Thanos, but
yes.
smaller, and having the
Yep.
heroes have to come together and help the gods, right? And you could have
Right.
introduced a few other gods, and you could have thrown in some African gods too. You know, hey,
Yep.
but
Could have done something cool.
yeah, but man,
African
Lily,
But
gods, we don't
that's the
have any.
fear.
We don't have any African gods. We have to race swap the
That's
Greek
right.
gods so we have proper
well,
representation.
you do actually, but. Okay. But Lily, damn man, that wall smashed her hard, dude. What happened? Although
She supported the truckers and they said, "Fuck this bitch."
I guess they really should not have cut her hair short. I tell you that. This kid here, the little girl in the middle, at least she's cute. You know, we don't get a lot of that these days. And she's thin. How dare she even?
How dare she do that? Who is she? Why is she oppressing all the fat women, Chester?
I kind of like that he's got his daughter with him though. That's neat. I like it.
Yeah, the only thing
Let's
I
see
worry
here.
is that our girl Evangeline there is going to get replaced by his daughter because, like we said, she had the wrong politics, and we know how Disney is.
I'm still wondering where the hell is Janet Van Dyne? Where is the real Wasp? God damn it!
Well,
Well, we have right here. She's right here.
That is not Janet Van Dyne.
That is Janet Van Dyne. It
No, it's
is.
not.
Yeah, it is. That's her right here.
that's supposed to be her,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. Now back to this right here though, because this is obviously a lieutenant reveal, right? This is like a mini boss fight,
right.
type of thing. So can we garner anything from this?
No,
Hmm.
it's cool looking. I like it.
I don't know
Looks
about
neat.
the chubby black lady with a katana. I don't know about that.
Well,
You know,
I was talking about the big robot thing in the middle, but yeah.
sure. Well, I got to look around it, right? All this
Yeah.
stuff that's going on. I don't know. But
I mean, here's the other problem I have. After watching movies like Top Gun Maverick, this is an animated movie with live action actors. That's all
yeah,
it is.
that's true.
I mean, look at that. That's going to be nothing but green screen. There'll probably be not a single set, and if they are, it's going to be before they go to this place.
Yeah.
Um, I'm totally and completely and utterly over that shit. I am
Well,
done with it. It always looks terrible. I know people have like brainwashed, gaslit themselves into thinking it looks good. It doesn't. It always looks bad, especially when you put it next to a film that isn't doing that for every scene. It's night and day, right? We all got up in our feelings. Star Wars fans did got up in their feelings, got all angry about the prequels
mhm.
and the green screen, the overuse of the green screen. And I remember a big thing that JJ was, winning. He was winning because he was using practical effects and not all green screen.
Mhm.
Um, Yet for some reason the MCU just gets a pass all the time. And I can't. I mean, just look at that. It's an animated movie. That's all it is. It's
Yeah.
basically just like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but it's all the animated scene
Well,
parts.
we've kind of talked about this before, and we got to keep this in mind. They'll throw $100 million at a CG studio, and and of course they don't spend that money on the actual animator. So where does the other $99 million go? And it's just a money
The
laundering
cocaine party.
scheme. Well, I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's they're moving money into people's pockets is what they're doing, because the amount of money they drop on these CG studios is insane, and you go look at salaries, they're not even 10% of that amount of money, dude. So
right.
that's what's going on. That's why they have, like, so we were talking last time where they had a rat in a dog's mouth and they literally use CG to do it. It's because they're laundering money. Hey, it's $1 million, right?
Right.
That's what they're moving money that way. So that is a complaint. I understand that, but I'm curious where they're going to go with it. I won't jump right up and watch this. I'll wait and see what people say, because the first Ant-Man I adore. I love it. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite Marvel movies. I love that movie because it's a comedy, and it's really slick, clean comedy. They do a good job with it.
Mhm.
It's very similar vein to Guardians of the Galaxy, a different type, different style, but it's slick. The second one is just call it the Wasp, dude. What's wrong with you? She
Yep.
is an original member of the Avengers. You can have a Wasp movie, you know.
In fact, they should have started with the Wasp.
Yeah.
She should have been what led into the Ant-Man, the Ant-Mans. Because she, like you said, is an original Avenger. I really don't even understand why they didn't. I can't
Right.
imagine they didn't have the
Well,
rights to her. So why not?
especially with their setup, the way they did it. I mean, because she was
Yeah.
already doing her thing. He came in after the fact, right? So,
Right.
but I like Paul Rudd in the role. It's perfect for him. I like Lily as Wasp. I think she's fine. She's a bit bitchy, but I guess that's the only thing women can be these days is bitchy in the films.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll wait and see. I'll see what the critics say. Because I can't imagine every damn movie coming out of Marvel is just going to be rotten. There's going to be some good stuff here or there.
Mm-hmm.
And the Guardian stuff will be fun. We know that already. So all right, well, I got one more thing here to watch, which I'm far less interested in, but I thought, well,
Oh
why
God.
not? Well, Anne Rice, she's a prolific writer. I've read
Mhm.
one of her books. And she's a pretty solid writer, I'd say. I wouldn't put her in any kind of Hall of Fame, but I think she's solid. She's better than a YA novelist, let's put it that way, right? And I have no idea what a Mayfair witch is, but I haven't seen anything from Anne Rice in 3 decades,
Oh.
4 decades. It's been a long time, dude. 3 decades, right?
Mm.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. I don't. Maybe there wasn't. I didn't see it, but I was like, well, let's check it out. Let's see what is this Anne Rice thing. I'm assuming it's about witches, and it's on AMC, so it's a TV. Okay, that's fine. It's about witchy ladies. It's got the same producers from Interview with the Vampire. All right. And can do pretty dark and twisted. Was that the trailer for the trailer?
I believe
That
so.
was it. That was it. Okay. Um, that didn't really tell me anything at all. I have no clue.
No.
I have no idea. Okay. So like I said, I wasn't super excited about that one, but I just wanted I would check it out, right? But interesting though. This looks fun. Maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think about what do you think of this? You gonna watch it?
No.
The Guardians one?
Maybe we'll see. I'm not gonna. I'm definitely not gonna give Disney any money, but might watch it.
I'll probably watch Guardians and maybe Ant-Man depending on the next trailer. Anne Rice, nah, just wasn't anything there I'm interested in.
Yeah, no, I'm not really either. I just saw it and figured check it out because they haven't done any of her stuff in, as far as I know, quite a long time. And what do you guys think about Quantumania?
Same deal. I don't know where they're going. Like you said, it could have been a nihilist, could have been a lot of things, but then the Kang thing in there, which I don't even know why they'd put that in there. What did that add to that trailer? They didn't add anything to
I
the
don't know.
trailer.
Let me watch it again. Let me see if I can see anything in between the lines. Kang doesn't make sense to me at all being in that.
Yeah.
I used
All
to
right.
ask myself a lot of questions.
So
Scott, you're at ex-con.
this kind of
How are
humor,
you an Avenger?
right?
That doesn't make sense.
All right.
But everywhere I go, people tell me the same thing.
Is Lily? Gosh, how did she get so old so quick?
People still need help, Dad.
It happens.
That's why we made this.
Dad.
It's like a satellite for deep space, but quanta.
Wait a minute. You're sending a signal down to the quantum realm.
Why did they pick Michelle Pfeiffer to be Janet?
I don't know.
Janet is significantly younger than Hank.
It's true, but they don't care about that. So they got sucked in without their technology on. No, he's got it on.
Well, he probably had it in miniaturized. Is
Yeah,
what they
sure.
talk.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. There's more here. Now, let me try to see. What am I looking at here? Do I recognize anything? Not really. They're probably good guys, actually.
Yeah, it looks like the good guys. The rebellion.
She had hers on her too.
It's a secret universe.
These two didn't have it.
What are you so afraid of?
That looked Dune-esque.
It
There's
did.
something
It
I
actually
never
looked really
told
cool, to be honest.
This place.
It's very creative. Whoever, again, art director's killing it. Just
Yeah,
killing it.
I
Look,
agree.
It looks good. It looks like what I would want in a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
I can get you home.
I don't know why there's so many humans down here, but, you know, we'll just ignore that.
Wow.
If you help me,
Budget.
Is that supposed to be Kang?
Yes,
there?
it is Kang.
No, I know this is supposed to be, but the scene before that, coming down, flying down.
Yeah,
is
that's
that him?
definitely Kang. It looks very Kang-esque. Yeah.
And which Kang is it? Because at the end of Loki, they made it very
Yeah,
clear.
that's definitely Kang.
Yeah. They made it very clear there's
So-
different Kangs.
what's it gonna be?
Well, this is the same Kang we saw. This kind of boring dude.
Well, it's going to be the same actor. I just mean there's different personalities. There's different,
So
one Kang.
I just looked it up. According to this, Bill Murray is supposed to be a bad guy, if not the bad guy in this movie.
That could
So
Well, you always
if you
get
like
10
it-
plus 10 points with Bill Murray in your film. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty
automatic.
because
That's right.
like everyone's saying he's looking at this as confirms villain role. So
That's true, Adrian. Yeah.
and I'm seeing somewhere else that MODOK is going to be in this.
What?
So
Why would they be in the microverse? It doesn't make sense. Or the
I
quantum
don't
realm.
know.
Which is fine. That's a better name anyway. But why would Kang be there? Why would MODOK be there? That doesn't make any sense at all.
The question we have to ask ourselves is how important and involved in the story is Kang going to be, and MODOK and all these guys. I still think I'm right. I think he's that what we saw there is probably post-credit or mid-credit scene stuff. I don't think he's going to be involved in this story at all. I think he's going to be there, or he's going to be outside of there or whatever to talk to our boy there, talk to Ant-Man. And maybe he's trying to recruit him or something because, as we know, the quantum manipulations are the way that they time traveled before. So maybe there's some connection there. Maybe he's looking towards him to try and find technology or something, or I don't know, something with the time travel connection. That's the only thing I can figure why Kang is involved in this at all. Because otherwise, it doesn't make any sense unless Ant-Man's going to play a much bigger role in the story going forward.
You know what this means, though. I have to do a Kang spotlight next week. I got to do it. I got to show it.
We
so
are
we
going to be
understand it.
Kangs, boys.
Yes. Well, no, just so we understand who Kang is, Eric says Marvel doesn't have the rights to the microverse, so they had to call it the quantum realm. Oh, okay. Maybe they don't have the rights to Annihilus. Why wouldn't they, though? Don't they own the Fantastic Four? The Howl Comics says Murray plays Ernie McCracken. Okay.
Oh, that's funny.
Did he just get his ID? Okay. Anyway, that would be McLovin, I guess, slightly different. Nevertheless, I don't know what to think of this one. It looks pretty, but that's never the problem. Well, other than She-Hulk looked bad, but in general, in this whatever this Werewolf by Night thing, that looked like crap. But usually they look good, so that's not shocking. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I have no idea. It says the film kicks to phase 5. Does it? Okay.
What? It does? So if that was phase 4. Phase 4 is done. What
Yep.
was phase? It was nothing. It was a complete clusterfuck.
I guess.
Holy crap, dude! What was the point of even calling it phase 4? Nothing happened. What happened? What did it set? What did it? Oh man, that is a whole video unto itself right there. The fact that they're just moving on. They're moving on now because
Yeah, they
Phase
are.
4 was such a cluster.
So maybe they've made a
because
decision then.
I'm guessing.
because they fucking failed.
Yeah, but how do you fix it? Um,
Franklin Richards.
Oh God, don't
oh,
don't do it, Tim.
Jesus.
I already
Oh,
told
don't.
you.
I don't
I
know
already
that.
told you yesterday. That's what you're gonna have to do. Just treat the last 10 years of Marvel, the MCU, and the comics just a fucking fever dream for fucking Franklin Richards.
He was having a nightmare.
Yeah, yeah.
I've actually had that thought. You know what I would do? Honestly, if I were magically in charge of Marvel comic books, I would have Franklin and Galactus sitting down on the moon having a conversation.
Mhm.
And I would have Galactus lay out things that Franklin doesn't know, and that it's all part of this process of regeneration, right? And it's coming.
Yes.
This universe is coming to an end, and you and I are the catalyst to that. And they have a conversation, and they take a little bit of time looking at major events. And you could do like a little mini limited series on this conversation they have, looking at the past, and then reboot it
Well, that makes
100%.
sense considering Galactus was born before the current
It,
universe existed. So, yeah,
I know, yes.
it wouldn't be his first.
It wouldn't be. Yeah. And Franklin is perfect to use in that way. Dude, I don't think you'll ever see Franklin Richards. How could you possibly do Franklin? It just because you got to keep in mind, we talk about, how powerful Superman is and
It
stuff like
was the
that, but
Omicron of phases.
was the Omicron of phases. Yeah, fine. By the way, when you're doing Greek, unless it's the last letter or ending sound of the Greek word, you use the Omicron, not the Omega. That's why they have two.
That's right.
But
That's right.
anyway, but Franklin Richards is his power level is beyond, I don't know, any comic book
Anything.
character really.
Yeah. Well, there's a few that are like equivalent in maybe more experience, so they can best him. And
Well,
obviously,
the
the
God
the
character,
literal
you know,
right, the literal gods of both DC and Marvel would well, not the gods, but God
the
in
one
both of those
above all,
universes.
yes.
Yeah, would
Even the
stomp him out.
tribunal I don't think can stand in front of Franklin Richards. I
It'd
don't
be
think he
something.
can.
Be
Yeah.
interesting to see.
No, but
Uh,
I mean, but that's not the tribunal wouldn't do it anyway.
he wouldn't do it. That's true. That is true. But yeah, that would be interesting. But I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to leave it there. Although I am happy to see Paul Rudd back, because I do like me some Paul Rudd as Ant Man. I know he's not the real Ant Man, but we got the real Ant Man right there, right? He's just
Yep.
Michael Douglas. We should talk one day, and we should create our own top 10 comparison between Michael Douglas and Papa Douglas. No,
Do they
seriously,
compare?
who's had the better
Because
career, right?
That's a
that's a
good
good
one.
question.
Yeah, I think Kirk
That's
has
actually
got
a good
him.
question. I would say back to your who's more powerful than Franklin? Molecule Man.
No, no, because
How,
Franklin can. Well, no, because
according to the
Franklin could just
Watcher,
simply
he
wish
is.
his power away, and then
Well, so
Molecule
can the
Man is
Molecule Man.
nothing.
No,
No,
he
he
has the same
can't.
power.
He
He has
would
the
have to
reality warping.
change it, and Franklin moves at the speed of thought. I don't think he. I don't think Molecule Man
I'm
would stand
telling
a
you,
chance.
the boy, the Watcher himself said that Molecule Man is the strongest.
Yeah, fair.
That's all I'm saying.
But that was
He said he
before
is.
Franklin was made what he is.
Well, what he is maybe now,
Now,
but
yes, now, yeah.
regardless, it doesn't really matter because
It
One
doesn't.
Above All is obviously stronger than all of them. But it's would be interesting. What could you do with Franklin Richards? You could actually make something cool with him, I think. But he couldn't be really in the MCU. He would just have to
No,
be
no,
doing his
no.
own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, think about another MCU title that isn't part of the MCU and certainly could not be Legion, right?
Yeah.
They had 3 seasons. They were great, fun seasons. I think it was a great look at Legion. It didn't display his power, but they were getting there, right? And now I haven't heard anything. I guess it's done. I don't know. But I like that series. I thought it was like, all right, you're showing off Legion. Now they didn't connect him to Papa as they should have. So I don't know where they were going with it, but that's another ridiculously powerful character, right? Legion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's and what's a shame to me is it, and maybe they will, but it looks like they're backing off of the magical side of the Marvel universe.
which they should
Uh,
not.
and and because I mean, how much further can they? If they're not going to bring in one of the devils, just any of them, pick one.
Yeah.
Uh, then they've shot their load with the multiverse of madness. Like,
And
there's no way they can go higher without bringing in one of them. So, and I don't think you'll ever get Dormammu back. So it's like, where do you go? They've kind of peaked. They've hit the zenith there, and it's a shame because you could bring in Legion, if you know, a toned down version of him, but he could be in there. Could be doing stuff.
well, they toned
There's
down
a lot
Doctor
of stuff they
Strange.
could do.
That's
Yeah.
true, and but I mean, to keep in mind, I understand that they might be, Disney might be a little apprehensive about putting demons in, but they had Surtur.
Yeah. Serta
I
was
mean,
there.
he's a kind of Nordic demon.
And I don't understand why it's such a big deal when they don't have to necessarily use the full iconography, and they don't even have to call them demons in Chinese, right? Because that's the problem, right? The
Yeah,
Chinese don't
no,
like that.
don't even call him that. Just bring in Mephistopheles and just have him as a
Yeah,
normal dude,
right.
right?
How
Very
about
powerful dark magic.
uh, how about do what the Japanese do and make your fucking movies to your primary audience, which is us,
Hmm.
That's right.
and
Yeah, and China can either take
and
it or not. But then again, China
Well,
is honestly film studio or anybody who is thinking that they should be catering to China are not paying attention. China is in full crumble, dude, full ass
well, they're also
crumble.
stupid.
Um, well,
Uh,
no, I don't
look
think you
at
guys understand what's going on in China right now. It's blown up, dude. It is blown up over
uh,
the past couple of weeks because, especially after they had their meeting, like I said, he kind of had his anti-coup, his reverse coup, where he went
mhm,
and removed all of the previous premiers, well, two premiers ago, all of his people were just basically disappeared, right, gotten rid of, and then they
mhm,
literally took in and removed him from the council as well. So she is 100% in power. And what does he do with that power? He immediately starts a round of ridiculously heavy lockdowns, right?
right.
And the people are really done with it and they're pushing back so hard. You're hearing on a daily basis people calling for the traitor she to be removed. Dude, that's a death
Good,
sentence if they catch you.
good.
No, I'm serious.
No,
But
I genuinely say this with all my heart. Black Adam is right. When he wakes up in Kahndaq and asks why the people are allowing, basically saying, why are you allowing yourself to be conquered? Why aren't you learning how to fight? Why aren't you doing it?
mhm,
Tells the lady who's teaching the boy violence. That's what he's saying. Get out there and do it yourself. Why are you asking me to save you? Go save yourself. The Chinese people have been oppressed in the most oppressive regime in the history, probably the history of the whole world,
wow.
for far too long. And the fact that they've just been content with it, or whatever you want to call it, I hope to the almighty God above
Apathetic.
that they find their human spirit that's in them, because the Chinese people are a beautiful people. They have a beautiful heritage, beautiful culture. Everybody loves it and respects it, except them for some reason. They allow this leech to exist on them for all this time, the CCP. It would be fantastic to watch the CCP fall apart.
Yeah.
That would be the event of the next 2 centuries, probably.
Right.
It would be
Well,
one of the best moments in human history if we all got to watch that. That would be it would be euphoria, at least for a while.
right.
It'd be better. It'd be way better than the Soviet Union falling, in my opinion. Like, it would just be unbelievable to watch
It would be
these
a great
absolute
weight off the
assholes
shoulders
fall
of the
apart.
world. It would be, yeah.
Yeah,
But keep in mind during this whole COVID thing, the past few years, what we've seen is a huge migration of companies out of China into Thailand and Indonesia, right? A lot of them. And
yeah,
recently, we've seen even more. Not only because of the economic troubles that China's having, but also because of the Biden administration and they're shutting down their access to computer chips
yeah.
and restricting it. So what's happening is you're seeing and then of course Biden came out and did something which I pretty guarantee you is not constitutionally illegal, saying that if you're an American working in China, they're going to nix your American citizenship.
Yeah, I think it's illegal under
I think
international
it's
law too.
illegal. I don't think that he can
Yeah.
do that. But the threat of it has caused, and the chip thing has caused huge amounts of people and businesses are pulling out of China just the past month.
Yeah.
So
Good.
yeah, it's far worse than we think it is. But we'll see because that partnership between Xi and Putin, however, is a very strong one.
Yes.
Because the Chinese, and this is why I think the threat of them attacking Taiwan has actually gone up. Because China wants to make its own chips and push forward and be their own thing. They just don't have the resources. You know who does?
Taiwan.
Russia.
Oh, yeah, Russia too.
Yeah.
Uh, there's no good reason why Russia shouldn't be stronger than they are, other than the fact that we have literally curtailed their ability to grow
Well, that's
in a
it.
very
We
real
have.
material way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have.
Uh, so it's interesting to watch. I mean this wholeheartedly. I know no Chinese person will probably ever hear it, but please cast off the CCP. Do
Yep.
it. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to suck. It's going to be at least a decade of brutality before you can achieve it, but do it. The world needs you to do it, and your ancestors need you to do it. You do not have to live that way. You
Sure.
don't. You do not have to live in that ridiculous environment.
Yeah, no, it's really bad.
Forbidden
And
City Walmart.
well, no, but I mean, I get what he means.
Wow.
And Russia, keep in mind after the fall of the Soviet Union, it was all this Putin, when he came in and all that kind of stuff was a big hype. But hey, Russia's joining in the West. The West never let him. The West just kept
Yep.
pushing him down and not giving him a chance to be part of it. So Russia didn't get any of those benefits. Where understand all of the up that China has had over the past so many decades is coming from Westerners pouring
That's right.
billions and billions and billions of dollars in there.
From here, from where I live,
Yes,
they took the wealth of the Midwest and dumped it into China,
yes,
and they wonder why Midwesterners are a little upset. I can't imagine.
yeah.
Can't
Well,
figure it out. We're a little perturbed by the fact that you stole our future, you bastards.
hmm
Uh, the Chinese people, though, are. I really hope that's. I hope what looks like is going to happen is happening. I genuinely do. I think most of the world does. Everybody hates the CCP. Even the Chinese hate the CCP. They're
oh,
just
they
not allowed
do,
to talk about
they do,
it.
but they are talking now.
Good. That's how you do it. The reason why the tyrants always come for speech first is because it is literally a human superpower. We are the only creature on this planet that is capable of actual language and actual communication via language the way we do. Nothing else can do it. They can have things that are mimicry of it, they can have things that are similar, other forms of communication, but it's not really language like we have. And that is our superpower. That's why tyrants always come for it first. So
Well,
if they're speaking out, consequences be damned. That is
yeah,
a
well, that's what you're starting to
humongously good
see.
sign. Yeah.
Because the crackdowns have gone beyond just locking cities down because one person is positive and literally a million people get locked down in their houses and literally welding them into the buildings.
Yeah.
It's moving people around now, and they're throwing millions of people are getting thrown into these broken, falling down, crumbling buildings. Right? They're just throwing them
Mhm.
in these things that aren't they're not even finished. There's no windows, there's no electric, and they're just throwing them into those unfinished buildings. It's gotten so bad they don't need. That's not even enough room. That they're basketball courts and other open areas. They're just throwing people in there with sleeping bags and forcing them to not be able to leave. Right. That's how
Jesus.
bad it's gotten. And Shanghai and that whole region is being hit the hardest because that's where the majority of his Xi's enemies are from. They're the Shanghai faction, right?
Mm.
And he's punishing all of Shanghai for it is really what he's doing. And of course, you got to keep in mind the people of Shanghai in that region are the Cantonese.
Right.
They are different, right? But the Xi has gone so far that in the past 2 months, he's actually made it illegal to use Cantonese in any official manner.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, one thing you might not know about the Cantonese is one of the things they're most proud of is their language, because
Hmm.
Cantonese, because and this coming from someone who knows practically, Cantonese is real Chinese, and it's very
That's right.
complicated, right? Mandarin is a washed down, gentrified or generically created version of Chinese to be
Hmm.
used in a governmental sense. It was created by the Manchurians, right? The
Right.
the bureaucrats, and that's why it's called Mandarin, right?
Right. Which makes sense. Yeah.
But it's a very simple, generic version of Chinese, where Cantonese is real Chinese, and they're very prideful of it and very proud of it. So, yeah, that right there, I was shocked that they went that far. But they're really cracking down on the
Chinese
Shanghai
bullshit.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I just again, I'll reiterate it. I really hope that they are able to cast off this yoke. It's been growing for a long time over there in China. Uh, the CCP has to go. It's just that
No, it
simple.
does
Like
need to go.
I,
Yeah.
I don't call for that for pretty much any other regime on the planet, but that is the one that has to go. It has to be ended. I'm not saying America needs to get involved, but the Chinese people, they have the power to overthrow this government. They just have to do it. They
Well,
just have to commit to it.
I mean, Hua was the closest thing they had to a Gorbachev. Because
Hmm.
Gorbachev is the reason why Russia is what it is today. He's the one that was able to throw that yoke of communism off, and they were
Right.
close to it, like a decade or more ago, of possibly going that direction. But they've gone full Mao now, because he's delusional. He thinks he's the new Mao. He really does. And with his little potato cult and all his nonsense that he does. This very uneducated man is in charge of, a billion people. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But he's very Mao-esque, and I'm telling you, what's going to really happen is they're going to lock down because, you know, first of all, there's no reason for us to make a war there, because we can just simply blockade them quite easily.
Yeah.
We don't need to actually make war, because to make war in China, I don't even know if we have enough resources to make war in China, because all they're going to
Mhm.
do is just throw the civilians at you, dude.
Yeah.
And it would
No,
be a
you'd have to
humanitarian
bomb them.
disaster.
It'd
Yeah.
have to be mass carpet bombing. That'd be
Yeah,
the
yeah,
only way.
and it's just there's no way the modern world military would ever do that. So
Yeah.
we don't need to do that. As stupid as the Biden administration is trying to stoke war everywhere, I mean, my
Yes.
God. But especially in Ukraine. And what was this stupid? Who's that? What's that idiot that's in charge of the military? He's on the council there. The cabinet member for the military for Biden. I can't remember his name. Some idiot. Then a
Hmm.
guy up there talking about, well, we can't have any peace talks because Putin won't talk peace. Putin has been talking peace since March,
Yeah. Since basically day one, just
day
about.
one, day
Like
one.
he's been ready to come to the table and have a conversation.
Right,
And they were actually. Him and Zelensky were
they were,
talking.
and then Boris Johnson went in
And Boris
and mixed
Johnson
that.
put his big ugly head in there and got involved.
Yeah, he was there because the Americans told him to go. You know that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's
anyway,
You
interesting.
saw how quickly he hauled ass.
yeah, and now they got this. I wonder how long this Indian guy's got to last as PM.
We'll see. They're
Yeah.
going to do everything in their power to keep him in there, though, because they don't want to look racist. So,
Oh yeah, right.
yeah.
Sometimes racism is good.
Oh, Chester said the bad words. He did it. He did it.
I did.
He
I
did.
did.
He said it.
But
Said the
This
right word.
nevertheless,
racist. Why
yeah,
am I associating with
I
such a
know.
racist?
Why would you? I'm a horrible white. I am the worst of the
White, a
whites.
literal white colonizer. He
Dude,
colonized a Japanese woman's womb.
I did.
Grimlock.
And I'm blonde and blue-eyed even.
Oh my God.
I
Oh
can't
my
stand in the sun
actual
5
God.
minutes, not even 5 minutes. It's true. So
Oh shit.
you know. But we who whites. But nevertheless, I got to go. I got to get on my work today. So Grimlock, would you like to say something to the peoples?
No, it's kind of weird. It's tomorrow's Halloween.
It is.
We are almost at the end of this year. It's kind of crazy to think that it's gone by pretty fast. But everybody
Yeah,
have a good, safe Halloween if you're celebrating that. If you're not, it's Monday. Take your ass to work.
that's true. That is true. And of course, I imagine most families are what celebrated today anyway. But I know that it is Halloween for me right now, and
Well,
I'm just going to work, so it doesn't really matter. But I did have stuff for my kids for the my school, and we did some Halloween stuff, so it was fun. And hopefully, you guys will have some Halloween fun. And of course, the end of the year is coming up quick, as Grim like it said. But I don't know that's a good thing because this winter is going to be brutal. Um, Maybe not as much for us, but there's places in the world where it's already bad and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And I guarantee you, your media will not talk about it. I know the Japanese certainly won't. You know what I saw in the Japanese news this morning? I shit you not. They had a rabbit who was grooming a man's head.
All right.
And all
All right.
the news reporters like, kawaii, kawaii. The world is literally burning, and you shitheads are talking about cute bunny rabbits. So yeah, the
Japan.
Japanese have no clue. But
Oh, Japan, the naivete and innocence of that culture.
yes, yes, yeah.
Sounds.
But it was a cute bunny rabbit grooming a man's hair. He was balding though, so it was a pretty easy job.
He had the shit on the man. The hole in his natural.
Yes, 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 yes. He was just going natural. He was okay. But anyway, thank you all very much. Keep in mind that I'm still. I think I might be able to work it out. I think I'm going to try to move my Greek class to today, and deal with what I'm doing tomorrow. But for the meantime, keep in mind that Bugbear's Basement. I'm going to see if I can't do something next week or the week after. I don't know, because that the campaign we had is clearly falling apart. So I'm going to restart, and I'm going to do a new system called the Cortex system from Margaret Weiss. A lady, it's a women's in the tabletop role playing community. You would think she'd be getting a lot of love because it's all about the women's, right? Me too, and all that. But she doesn't have the right politic because she's just a normal mom. So she don't get any love. But she said,
Can't have that.
no, you can't have that. And she said, fucking just retired. But nevertheless, it is her system and it's a really good system. But I really got to put that in my head. So I'm studying it right now. And I will do something with that in the future. Although, of course, we do have Drone Recorder Ultimate Edition. And this week, I'm not sure. I think we have another indie. But come back, check that out. And hopefully coming out here at least by beginning of next year, I think I'll be able to adjust my schedule and have things a little different. But right now, other than that, come back next week for the Night Owls, and we'll have fun talking about all this crazy entertainment stuff. Thundero, the night of, we'll call you Sir Wakefield of the Main Street McDonald's. Would you please take us out of here, sir?
Whatever that means. I have two today, Chester. One is an old adage I think everybody's probably heard, but I think it's a good one. You should beware of an old man in a profession where men die young. It's just good advice.
Hmm.
It's very good advice. It means he's a very dangerous, capable man. The other one is one I wrote myself. This is a hatred for one's own self, regret for the things you have no power to control. When you cannot change them, you could not prevent them. So what possible good does regretting them do? You are the whole of your decisions, of your actions, of your choices. Those moments are what people will remember. Do not hate them. Those memories, they are you. Hating yourself is a low fate, a life lived dead.
Namaste. You're much better at that than Jeff. Later, everybody.